Driving the brand new Mercedes, the two of them returned to the parking garage of the Evergreen Terrace apartments. Leo pulled into Isabel's reserved spot. After they got out, he politely declined Isabel's insistent invitation to come up for dinner. He knew that if he gave in to his loneliness right now, he wouldn't just be eating dinner. It would be a 5-star, all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. After saying goodbye to Isabel, Leo went back to his apartment alone. The takeout bag from lunch, a $10 teriyaki beef bowl, was still hanging on the doorknob. Not wanting to waste it, he took it inside, opened it up, and started eating. After quickly finishing his dinner, Leo was about to take a shower when he felt a bunch of hard objects in his jacket pocket. He pulled them out and saw, besides his apartment key and the Mercedes key fob, 2 different color bank cards. One was the card Isabel had forced on him in the car, loaded with $70,000. The other was his own, holding the $47,000 he'd set aside to pay her back for the car. Leo sighed with a wry smile and opened his messaging app to tease her. Offline mode. Isabel, this isn't cool. I really don't want to be a kept man. Mama Bear, I don't care. If I say you eat, you eat. Angry emoji. Leo laughed. He thought for a moment before typing. So what are we now? Does this mean I'm your sugar baby? She hesitated for a few minutes before replying, whatever. If it makes you feel better, you can pretend you're my sugar daddy. I've already decided you're my man, shy emoji. Offline mode. But I don't want a sugar mama. And in what world does the mistress give the client money? Mama Bear, I don't care. You're my sugar daddy, and that's final. Say one more word, and I'm coming down there with a Brillo pad to scrub that mouth of yours. Offline mode. Ma'am, this is coercion. I'm reporting you to the authorities. Crying emoji. Mama Bear, it's too late for that. Just surrender and be mine. I'll be good to you from now on. Flower emoji. Offline mode. You devil flower emoji. Leo chuckled to himself as they texted. His landlady was getting funnier by the day. After another 10 minutes of light-hearted banter, he put down his phone, which was warm to the touch, and lay on his small bed, staring at the ceiling. Leo had never been in a real relationship before, but he could clearly feel that whatever was between him and Isabel, it definitely wasn't a typical boyfriend-girlfriend thing, and it certainly wasn't sugar baby arrangement. After all, who's ever heard of a mistress paying her client? It was completely backward. The world of high-end dating might be messy, but surely not that messy. Whatever, time for a shower. After mulling it over, Leo couldn't be bothered to analyze it anymore. Life goes on, good or bad. Overthinking it was pointless. Living in the moment was the only thing that made sense. The next morning, just as Leo woke up and was about to brush his teeth, a video call request from Chloe popped up on his phone. Chloe was always careful not to let Leo appear on camera when her roommates were around, feeling a strange possessiveness, as if her single friends would immediately try to poach him. Because of this, despite knowing each other for a while, Leo had never met or even been seen by her other roommates. Most of their communication was through voice calls. She would only risk a video call when her roommates were asleep or out of the dorm. Today was Saturday, and her roommates had all gone home to visit their families. Her best friend, Maya Pierce, had just gone out to grab breakfast. With the dorm room to herself, a freshly washed Chloe couldn't wait to chat with Leo. Chloe had a very lively personality. As soon as the call connected, her cute, expectant face filled the screen, and her energetic voice bubbled through the speaker. Leo, you're awake. Are you free today? Just woke up. Brushing my teeth, he mumbled, the toothbrush still in his mouth as he raised his eyebrows. I'll drive over and get you in a bit. In the beginning, when Chloe would call, the more socially anxious version of Leo would clear his throat a few times before answering. He'd meticulously adjust the phone angle to make sure he looked his best. But now that they were more comfortable with each other, and with the system steadily boosting his confidence, he wasn't so tense anymore. He just propped the phone on the windowsill, the camera aimed at his upper body. It was the kind of casual intimacy most couples fell into. The gesture might seem a bit careless, but it didn't weaken their bond. If anything, it made it stronger. Okay. Chloe, sitting cross-legged on her bed, happily rocked back and forth, her bare legs tucked beneath her. A moment later, a thought occurred to her. Wait, Leo, you have a car? Yeah, just got yesterday. A Mercedes, Leo hummed, a little proud. I'll pick you up and we'll go for a spin. Okay. Chloe didn't care what kind of car he drove, nor did she want to know the details. She was just excited about where he would take her, the typical logic of girl in love. Besides, Chloe's family was well off. If her parents weren't so worried about her driving skills, they would have gotten her a car too. Chloe, open up, I forgot my key. Gotta go, my roommate's back. I'll meet you at the campus entrance, Chloe said in a rush, quickly ending the video call. Why does that feel like we're having a secret affair? Leo shook his head with a wry smile and slipped the phone into his pocket. After getting ready, Leo went down to the underground garage. The Mercedes he'd picked up yesterday sat there, sleek and cool in Isabel's reserved spot. He pulled out the silver key fob and pressed the unlock button. The silver sedan chirped twice, its lights flashing in response. For some reason, it felt incredibly satisfying. Many new car owners experience this in the beginning. The nicer the car, the greater the sense of accomplishment when you press that unlock button. Eventually, when a novelty wears off, the feeling fades, sometimes even turning into a slight annoyance. Sliding into the driver's seat, Leo took a moment to admire the exquisite interior. He cleared his throat, feeling a rush of excitement, and activated the voice assistant with his best, slightly clumsy English. "Hey, Mercedes." The car's voice system activated, a synthesized female voice responding. "How can I help you?" Leo had intended to just navigate to Portland State University to pick up Chloe, but then he remembered a meme video he'd seen on TikTok posted by another Mercedes owner. He pulled out his phone, started recording, and commanded in English, "Navigate to the velvet curtain." "I need to go. Unwind." Ding. The voice responded coolly. "As a valued Mercedes-Benz owner, your focus should be on your career and family. Please do not bring your Cadillac habits into a Mercedes." Haha, that's actually pretty good. Leo saved the video, laughing, and then set the navigation for PSU. In a city like Portland, where real estate was worth its weight in gold, the bustling streets were full of high-end sports cars worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. A $40,000 Mercedes wasn't going to turn many heads. Waiting at a red light, the only things that might catch another driver's eye were how new the car looked and the way its paint gleamed under the sun. It was clearly brand new, and the owner looked pretty young and sharp. He pulled up to the main gate of Portland State University, where students were constantly coming and going. From a distance, Leo spotted Chloe's slender figure standing under a large maple tree, seeking shade from the bright sun. It was a warm day. Chloe was dressed in a simple white t-shirt, blue jeans, and a pair of white and pink sneakers. Her long, dark hair was pulled back into a lively, high ponytail, revealing a smooth, fair forehead. Her playful eyes kept glancing down the road. It was as if she sensed him. The moment Leo's Mercedes came into view, Chloe paused. After confirming he was the one driving, the corners of her mouth slowly curled into a subconscious smile, playful, cute, and full of anticipation. Leo gently pulled the car over to the curb and honked twice. Shielding her eyes from the sun, Chloe jogged overexcitedly, opened the passenger door, and sat down with a touch of prim composure. Leo was immediately hit by a wave of youthful, vibrant energy radiating from her. "Leo, where are we going today?" Chloe asked, her eyes darting around as she nervously picked at her nails. It felt like the first time meeting someone you'd only known online. Even though they had chatted for over 2 hours just last night, seeing him in person made her a little nervous and excited, just like their first date. 1. Scold her angrily. "Can you put on your seatbelt first? This is my brand new car. I don't want to get a ticket." 2. Help her with her seatbelt and gently suggest, "Let's go to Pioneer Square first, grab lunch, then see a movie. Tonight, we could take a walk at South Waterfront Park." 3. Ask regretfully, "Why didn't you wear the white thigh highs today? Black would have been fine too. Don't you know I have a thing for legs?" Jesus, how does the system know about my thing for legs? Leo grumbled internally. He then unbuckled his own seatbelt and leaned over to help Chloe with hers. As he leaned in, he caught a faint, fresh scent. It wasn't the sharp fragrance of perfume, but more like a body wash mixed with a natural, sweet, girlish aroma. Leo was surprised. Did all girls just naturally smell this good? Not only that, but as he clicked the seatbelt into place, he could faintly hear Chloe swallow. When he leaned back, he noticed her cheeks were flushed a delicate pink. She shyly looked away, biting her light pink lip. "Damn, she's so cute. I might actually get a kiss today, right?" Leo thought hopefully. "Ahem, let's go check out Pioneer Square first," Leo said, sitting back up and buckling his own seatbelt. He smiled. "We'll get lunch, maybe see a movie, and then tonight we can walk around South Waterfront Park. How does that sound?" "Okay, whatever you want," Chloe replied happily. Most guys on a first date rack their brains trying to pick the perfect spot and plan every meal, terrified of leaving a bad impression. But the truth is, when a girl agrees to go out with a guy, she's not really there for the shopping or sightseeing. As long as she's with the guy she likes, and they aren't going somewhere mind-numbingly boring, she'll be happy. Unless, of course, she's a gold digger. Then she'll do everything she can to steer him to the most expensive restaurants and luxury boutiques, ready to bleed his wallet dry. With the system's help, Leo easily found topics to chat about as he drove, breaking the slightly quiet atmosphere in the car. Under the influence of his witty and humorous conversation, Chloe quickly warmed up, and the prim, reserved girl who first got in the car vanished completely. The car was soon filled with laughter. After wandering through the bustling Pioneer Square, it was already noon. They had steak at a nice restaurant, then walked hand in hand to the movie theater and chose a Thai horror film. For a date, romance and horror were the best choices. Romance amped up the amorous atmosphere, sometimes leading to a spontaneous kiss when emotions ran high. Horror gave the guy the perfect excuse to hold the girl's hand, or even to legitimately accept her when she threw herself into his arms. It had to be said, Thai horror films were genuinely well made. Even a tough guy like Leo broke out in a cold sweat a few times. In fact, it was Leo who kept getting startled and grabbing Chloe's hand. Yet, he had the gall to tell her, "Don't be scared, it's all fake. I'm right here." Chloe, of course, knew he was the one who was truly scared. His jumpy reactions were impossible to fake. But she loved that he was taking the initiative. Trying to hold back a smile, she nodded and naturally squeezed his hand back. After the movie, they spent 2 hours at an arcade trying to win prizes from the claw machines. By the time they left Pioneer Square, it was already past 6 in the evening. South Waterfront Park, located in the heart of the city, was one of Portland's most popular recreational spots. Here, nature and urban prosperity blended together, creating a unique and picturesque scene. It was almost 8 o'clock when they arrived, but the park was still teeming with tourists and locals enjoying the evening. They walked hand in hand, close and intimate, along the lakefront path lined with weeping willows. Their conversation grew more flirtatious. They were now, for all intents and purposes, a couple deep in the throes of new love. "You know, Leo," Chloe said, leaning her head against his shoulder and looking up at him with eyes full of dependence and a hint of pride, "a lot of people on the PSU subreddit have been asking about you. Being with the campus belle. Are you nervous?" "Yeah. What's there to be nervous about?" Leo squeezed her hand a little tighter. "You want to bet that on Monday morning, I'll drive right up to campus and kiss you in front of everyone?" "Haha, really? Last time you were so timid. Don't think I didn't notice." Chloe couldn't stop laughing. In her current romantic haze, she loved hearing such bold, sweet nothings. She looked up at him, her eyes reflecting nothing but the boy in front of her. Yet, it never once occurred to Chloe that Leo had never actually asked her to be his girlfriend. Their relationship still wasn't official. The sky gradually darkened, and the willow branches swayed gently in the breeze. They continued their lovey-dovey stroll along the lakeside path. Occasionally, a goldfish would dart through the water, sending ripples spreading across the surface that lapped against the shore like musical notes. "Are you cold?" Leo noticed Chloe shrink her neck a bit, and he smoothly switched places with her, blocking the cool breeze coming off the water. This wasn't some calculated move. Growing up tormented by his 2 younger sisters, Leo had become pretty adept at taking care of girls. Without a girlfriend, his day-to-day thoughtfulness made him a strange hybrid of a troll and a surprisingly considerate goblin. "I'm okay," Chloe said, her heart warming. After a moment's hesitation, she slid her cool hand into his jacket pocket. "This is warmer," she added with a grin. "Is it? Let me check." Leo reached his own hand into the pocket, found hers, and intertwined their fingers perfectly. He nodded in satisfaction. "You're right, it is warm. I never knew a girl's hand could be so soft." They had held hands before, but always palm to palm. This was the first time their fingers were laced together so intimately. "Stop it." Chloe's cheeks flushed, but inside the pocket, her fingers squeezed his hand back. They walked to the center of the park and noticed the crowds thinning out. The sky grew darker, and a low rumble of thunder echoed from within the clouds. "Huh, is it starting to rain?" Chloe felt a drop on her forehead and looked up at the gloomy sky in surprise. The weather forecast didn't say anything about rain today. "Feels like it's getting heavier," Leo said, feeling a few drops in his own hair. He pointed to a gazebo up ahead. "It's getting late anyway. Let's take cover over there. I'll drive you back to campus after it stops." South Waterfront Park was huge. Walking it from end to end took over an hour. They were in the middle of it, far from any exit, so Leo took Chloe's hand and they ran for the gazebo. Just as they ducked inside, the rain intensified. It started as a few scattered drops, then quickly became a downpour, a torrential sheet of water cascading from the sky. The entire park was enveloped in a white, misty curtain. Rain hammered the lake's surface, kicking up countless splashes. The paths were now deserted, and everything in sight was a blur of white. "Good thing we ran. This is a crazy storm," Chloe said, wiping off a stone bench before kneeling on it lazily. Her tone relaxed as she watched the rain-swept park. She loved the atmosphere of a heavy downpour. It felt strangely comforting, especially with a boy she liked by her side. "Leo, looks like we'll be here for a while." "Yeah, Leo said, standing behind her. His gaze fell on the soft curve of her body, his heart skipping a beat as he watched her hips sway slightly. He blushed and rubbed his nose. He knew she wasn't trying to tempt him on purpose. She was just naturally carefree and uninhibited. My legs are so sore from all the walking today. Chloe turned around and sat down, stretching out her long, jean-clad legs with a contented sigh. I can tell you don't work out much. We barely walked at all, Leo said with a smile, sitting down next to her. He took her hand firmly in his and considerately pulled the collar of her shirt up a bit to shield her from the chilly wind. I'm just lazy, she purred, leaning against his shoulder. The sound of the downpour outside drowned out all other noise, and the boy she liked was right beside her. In this romantic setting, she felt comfortable enough to act spoiled. Besides, orientation starts soon. I'm being lazy while I still can. Leo didn't reply. He naturally wrapped an arm around her slender waist, turned slightly, and gently brushed a few stray hairs from her forehead that had been mussed by the wind. Are you cold? Want my jacket? No, I'm not that weak, she replied, a blissful, lazy smile on her face as she felt the warmth of his fingers. They huddled together like that, listening to the relentless drumming of the rain outside the gazebo. Leo, Chloe said suddenly, sitting up straight. She looked at him a little shyly. Are we dating? Do you like me? Chloe knew they were dating. Otherwise, they wouldn't be having dinner together, seeing movies, holding hands at the park. But Leo had never officially asked her out, and something about that felt off. Normally, the guy confesses, the girl accepts, and then they go on dates. That was the standard relationship progression. But Leo had skipped the confession and gone straight to doing all the things couples do. Chloe had that little bit of stubbornness that many girls have. Even though she knew Leo liked her, she wanted him to say the words. Only then would it feel like a real relationship. 1. Fool, if I didn't like you, would I be texting you every day and scheming all week to get you to hang out with me on a Saturday? 2. Chloe, I like you. Be my girlfriend. I'll always be good to you. 3. Don't answer. Just kiss her passionately. Fool, if I didn't like you, would I be texting you every day and scheming all week to get you to hang out with me on a Saturday? Leo reached out and caressed her soft cheek, a teasing smile on his face. This is the first time I've ever asked a girl out. I spent forever planning where to take you today, and I still don't even know if you had a good time. Leo had considered picking option 2. He genuinely liked this beautiful, cheerful elf princess and wanted her to be his girlfriend. But he felt option 1 not only expressed his affection, but also subtly showed how much he valued her with the second half of the sentence. More importantly, it wasn't a direct confession. I like you wasn't the same as I want you to be my girlfriend. This would give him a slight upper hand in their future interactions, a way to gently curb her sometimes willful and mischievous personality. It was like buying something. The guy who confesses his feelings first immediately reveals his hand. From then on, his position in the relationship is subtly, and sometimes significantly, lowered. I had a great time, and don't call me a fool, she replied, clearly flattered. All these places were really fun, and this is the first time I've spent so much time with a guy, too. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Leo feigned a relieved smile, his arm still around her waist as he slowly leaned in. He had worked hard all day for this one sacred moment. Chloe, however, was still thinking. After I like you, he should have added, be my girlfriend, right? That would have been a real confession. But as Leo's face got closer and closer, she felt a little flustered. Still, he had said he liked her, and that was close enough. Chloe closed her eyes, her hands clenched in a small fist on her lap, waiting with a mix of nerves and excitement. Just as their lips were about to touch, Leo suddenly stopped. Wait, hold on. What is it? Chloe pouted, a mix of embarrassment and annoyance. The atmosphere was so romantic, she had finally worked up the courage to get ready for a real kiss, and he had to go and ruin it. No, it's not that. Leo cleared his throat, placing his hands on her shoulders. He looked at her, his expression serious and eager. This time, can I use my tongue? Leo had always believed that a real kiss between a couple had to involve tongue. This wasn't some middle school game of just pressing lips together. He hadn't pushed it last time, mindful that their relationship wasn't quite there yet. But now, with the time, place, and mood all perfectly aligned, he had to boldly propose this possessive, next-level idea. The innocent Chloe stared at him, her face beat red. The question shocked her so much that her lips trembled slightly. She couldn't believe he'd asked something so shameless. But seeing his serious, expectant expression, the reluctant Chloe let her shy eyes dart back and forth a few times before mumbling, Do whatever you want. Permission granted. Leo was ecstatic. Nervous and thrilled, he leaned in. A real kiss wasn't child's play. It was far more than just lips touching lips. The moment their lips met, Leo began to gently nip at her soft lower lip, savoring it for a few seconds before slowly releasing it, continuing his tender conquest. Slightly sweet. A rare delicacy. Chloe clenched her fists tightly against her chest, holding her breath as if she were underwater. After a few moments, she finally started to match his rhythm. Her furrowed brow relaxed, and she began to respond to him, clumsy yet excited. They kissed passionately for several minutes. Leo, blood pumping, noticed the rain was coming down even harder, and the park was pitch black. There was no chance of anyone coming by. His actions grew bolder. His hands, acting on their own accord, slipped under her lightweight t-shirt, stroking her smooth stomach and gradually moving upward. A sliver of reason returned to Chloe. She weakly pushed at his mischievous hands, her voice a breathy, desire-filled complaint. No. Stop. Leo, you're terrible. He didn't know how long it had been, but the rain finally stopped. Chloe was panting, leaning against his chest. Her delicate face was impossibly red. Her skin was hot to the touch, and she kept swallowing, feeling incredibly thirsty. Leo was also swallowing, gently brushing away the strands of hair stuck to her sweaty forehead. Though the night was cool after the storm, they were both flushed and beaded with sweat. If anyone had passed by the gazebo right then and seen Chloe's disheveled clothes and Leo's satisfied expression, they would have assumed the two had been up to something scandalous. So handsy. I'm not letting you kiss me next time, Chloe said, recovering. She gave him a light punch on the chest, which had no force behind it, and felt more like a playful swat. Ahem, so are you thirsty? For some reason, despite having swallowed plenty of sweet saliva, Leo's throat felt incredibly raw. I'm really thirsty. The rain stopped. Let's go buy some water. Yes, Chloe nodded eagerly. She was parched. They hastily straightened their clothes and, under the cover of darkness, slipped out of South Waterfront Park like a pair of thieves. It was around 9 o'clock by the time he drove her back to the PSU campus entrance. After the heavy rain, the gate was quiet and deserted. The security guard was yawning lazily in his booth. It's cold out. Here, wear my jacket. Leo took off his jacket and draped it over Chloe's shoulders, cupping her cheek. Call me when you get to your dorm. I'll take you out again when you have time. Okay. Chloe clutched the jacket, looking at his concerned face, and felt a profound sense of being cared for. Maybe this was the feeling of love she had always dreamed of. Walk me to the door, she mumbled with a touch of playful willfulness. Now that their relationship was more or less official, Chloe's true personality was emerging. The prim and proper demeanor was long gone. Especially after what had happened in the park, where Leo had taken every liberty. She felt oddly like she'd gotten the short end of the stick and naturally wanted to punish her handsy new boyfriend. Of course, more than that, she just didn't want him to leave yet. She wanted him to stay with her, even if it was just for the few minutes it took to walk to her dorm. All right, let's go. Leo didn't refuse. This was his first relationship, his first time experiencing this kind of intimacy with a girlfriend. He also wanted to spend a little more time with this adorable girl. After they got out of the car, Leo took her warm hand in his, adjusting his slightly too large jacket on her shoulders. Chloe, who had been feeling a little miffed about being taken advantage of, found her annoyance melting away at his thoughtful gesture. She leaned against his shoulder and playfully bit his arm. I'll bite you so you won't dare do that again. Feeling a slight sting on his arm, Leo grinned and begged for mercy. I was wrong. I'll do it again next time. You're impossible. They fell into another bout of sweet, clingy banter, only quieting down when they reached the main gate of the university. Tomorrow's Sunday, anyway. Why don't you call your roommate down? Chloe's steps had slowed considerably. Leo knew she didn't want to go back just yet, so he suggested, I'll treat you guys to a late-night snack. My roommates all went home. They won't be back until tomorrow afternoon, Chloe said glumly. It's just Maya in the dorm right now. Maya. She's my best friend. We've known each other since middle school, and our parents are good friends too. Leo immediately got serious. Then we should definitely ask your best friend out. A girlfriend's best friend was almost as important as her parents. Often, the best friend could greatly influence the success or failure of a relationship. The longer they'd been friends, the more your girlfriend would trust her advice. That was why, if a guy wanted to date a girl in college, he first had to win over her roommates and best friend. Nah, she's a homebody, Chloe said, shaking her head. She's probably curled up in bed playing video games right now. Okay, well, it's late. You should go back, Chloe said, her eyes full of anticipation. Orientation is over in a week, and then we have a 7-day break. I'll introduce you to her then, and we can go on a trip somewhere. okay? Sounds like a plan. Leo nodded happily. Their eyes met. After a moment of silence, Leo couldn't help but lean in and give her one more kiss. All right, cold out here. Go get in your warm bed. Okay, drive safe and text me when you get home. Okay. They lingered for a few more minutes before Chloe finally started walking towards the women's dorm, looking back every few steps. Watching her disappear into the building, Leo returned to his car, completely content. Today was a full and wonderful day, he sighed happily. He activated the car's voice assistant. Hey, Mercedes, open the music player and play Iris. The synthesized female voice replied, now playing Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls. Humming along to the classic song, Leo drove the Mercedes off into the night. Lily read, September weather was just bizarre. A torrential downpour one night, followed by a scorching hot day, the cicadas screaming themselves hoarse from the trees. Leo was about to brush his teeth when he heard a commotion outside his door. It sounded like someone was moving things back and forth. Curious, he opened the door and saw a tall girl dragging a massive, woven plastic moving bag past his doorway and into the small apartment across the hall. The girl was beautiful. She had her hair in a single braid with wispy bangs framing an oval, porcelain white face that bloomed like a peach blossom. Beneath a straight, delicate nose, her reddish lips were pressed together tightly as she struggled with the heavy bag. Beads of sweat trickled down her neck. Her clothes were simple, a sea blue t-shirt faded from many washes, plain white capri pants, and a pair of light pink sneakers that had turned a dingy gray. Nowadays, when a girl moved, she'd either call family or her boyfriend for help, or she'd hire movers, who would willingly haul their belongings through a building in cheap moving bags. Leo guessed her family probably wasn't well off. But even these plain, simple clothes couldn't hide her graceful figure or her stunning face. Hey, you just moving in? Leo called out in a friendly tone. As the girl dragged the bag past him, she nodded subconsciously, her gaze quickly darting away. So cold? Leo was surprised. A second later, the system's options appeared. 1. Scold her angrily. It's the crack of dawn. Can you keep it down? People are trying to sleep. Have some decency. 2. Introduce yourself in a friendly manner while helping her carry her luggage. 3. Whistle to get her attention and ask for her number. Leo then noticed that the hallway by the elevator was also piled high with the girl's various belongings. It was a hot day, and she was moving all this stuff by herself. She was already drenched in sweat. Let me help you with that. Leo walked over to the elevator, gathered up a pile of miscellaneous items, and headed straight for her apartment. No, you don't have to, the girl said, rushing out of her room in a panic. Seeing this strange man holding her things, she waved her hands frantically. I can manage on my own. Why such a strong reaction? Leo wondered, but he just smiled. It's no trouble. It's just a few things. He carried the pile into her apartment. As he did, the system's voice chimed in his mind. Ding. Lily Reed's affinity for the host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 5. Please continue your efforts. This girl's a bit proud, isn't she? Thinking about her vehement refusal just now, Leo couldn't help but chuckle. Girls really were such contrary creatures, always saying the opposite of what they meant. Wait, what? 5 points. Leo froze. He got a full 5 points of affinity just for helping her move some stuff? How was that possible? He whipped his head around to look at Lily. She was standing behind him, looking completely lost. When she saw him looking at her, she immediately lowered her head again, staring at her own dingy sneakers. The word meek seemed to be written all over her pretty face. Putting together her simple clothes and the cheap bags by the door, Leo thought he understood. He smiled gently. What do you want this stuff? Just on the floor is fine. Thank you, Lily replied, nodding as if she were overwhelmed by the kindness. She timidly raised her eyes to sneak a peek at the kind-hearted man. The moment their eyes met, she quickly looked away again, avoiding his gaze like someone with severe social anxiety. Definitely social anxiety, Leo thought to himself, seeing a reflection of his past, introverted self. He knew exactly how to handle people like her. All you had to do was be warm and friendly, clearly expressing your goodwill, and you could quickly earn their trust. Okay, there's still a bit more. I'll help you finish up. Really, you don't have to. It's fine. We're neighbors now. Then thank you. Don't thank me. You could just buy me a Coke later. Okay. After Leo helped her move everything, the girl actually ran downstairs and came back with a cold bottle of Coke. The only convenience store was on the main road outside the apartment complex. By the time Lily got back, her fair cheeks were flushed from the sun. She held the Coke up to Leo with both hands, as if presenting a treasure. Thank you. You really didn't have to. Seeing a girl act so humbly in front of him made Leo feel a little awkward. He took the cold Coke, twisted it open, and took a long drink. Lily pulled a slightly worn, brown water bottle from one of her bags and went into the small bathroom, turning on the tap. From the living room, Leo could hear her gulping down water. She was clearly parched. Damn, is she really that frugal? Leo was shocked. He didn't have the heart to tell her that drinking tap water wasn't a great idea. It would hurt her pride. He just couldn't believe that in this day and age, there were still people so thrifty they wouldn't even buy themselves a $2 Coke. After drinking, Lily came out of the bathroom and just stood silently by the doorway, making it seem like Leo was the tenant and she was the visitor. I'm Leo. I live across the hall, Leo said, breaking the silence. What's your name? Where are you from? My name is Lily Reed. I'm from West Virginia, she replied, her voice as quiet as a mosquito's buzz. Her body was trembling slightly, as if even a simple introduction was too much for her. Ahem, this is a nice room, Leo said, looking around the small, 300-square-foot apartment. How much is the rent? It was supposed to be $600, Lily said with a small smile. But the landlady said it must be hard for me being a student, so she cut it by $300. Oh, that's great. Leo thought the girl was incredibly naive. Anyone would know not to broadcast that kind of special treatment, especially to other tenants. If the others found out Lily's $600 rent was cut to $300, they would all be knocking on Isabel's door, demanding a discount. Sigh, people these days, Leo thought. He drained the rest of his Coke, tossed the bottle in the trash, and decided to go have a talk with Isabel. But just as he stood up, Lily walked over to the trash can, bent down, and picked the bottle out. What? What are you doing? Leo was startled by her bizarre action. I want to save it to sell. To sell? Leo was even more surprised. What century did this country girl time travel from? He thought she might be planning to use it for an art project or as a makeshift vase. But to sell it for money? The bottle was worth, at most, 5 cents. How many would she have to collect to buy a new Coke? Perhaps sensing that her impulsive action had startled him, Lily just stood there, clutching the bottle, looking like a child who had done something wrong. 1. Ask in disbelief. Dude, you're a girl, and you're picking things out of the trash? Isn't that disgusting? 2. Brag smugly. Silly girl, how much is that bottle worth? A few cents? Clean yourself up, put on something nice, and I'll take you out for a steak tonight. 3. Go back to your room, gather all your empty bottles, and give them to her, saying gently, you can have my bottles from now on. Wait here a second, Leo said, decisively choosing option 3. It was the perfect choice, allowing Lily to save face while also creating a pretext for them to interact more in the future. Leo went back to his apartment and gathered all the empty bottles he had tossed into a corner, stuffing them into a trash bag. Returning to Lily's room, he handed the full bag to her. I'm usually too lazy to collect these and take them to the recycling center. You can have them, he said with a teasing smile. Just remember to buy me a Coke after you cash them in. Lily took the bag of empty bottles, stunned. She stared at it for a long moment, and then her eyes began to well up. She bowed slightly to Leo, her voice trembling with emotion. Thank you. Ding. Lily Reed's affinity for the host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 10. Please continue your efforts. No, don't mention it. To some extent, Leo was truly shocked. It was 2024. How could someone still be this poor? So grateful for a few empty bottles that she would bow and thank him with tears in her eyes. After saying goodbye to Lily, Leo went over to Isabel's building and rang the doorbell. Maddie, get the door, mommy's busy. Okay. A tiny, cheerful voice got closer. The door creaked open, and a little head peeked out, looking up at Leo with wide, innocent eyes. A moment later, her face lit up with a joyful smile. Mommy, it's Mr. Leo. Mr. Leo is here. Isabel was in the middle of a yoga routine on a mat on the balcony. When she heard it was Leo, a delighted smile spread across her face. She quickly paused the yoga class on her tablet and stood up to greet him. It was clear that both mother and daughter were very fond of the tall young man. Standing in the doorway, watching the two of them approach, Leo had the strange feeling of being an instant dad. It was like they were a family who had been waiting for their husband and father to return from a long business trip. His sudden appearance, a huge, happy surprise. Mr. Leo, what have you been doing? You haven't come to play with Maddie in so long. The little girl cried, hugging Leo's leg and looking up with an expectant face. Want to be picked up? Hey, mister. Leo has been busy, Leo said, bending down to lift the little girl into his arms. He affectionately nuzzled her tiny nose. Whoa, has Maddie gotten heavier again? Hee hee, no I haven't. She giggled, shaking her head and revealing her tiny baby teeth. Isabel watched them with a warm, motherly smile. Leo, stay for lunch. I just got back from the grocery store. Thanks, Isabel. I'd love to, Leo replied. As he nodded, his gaze inadvertently fell on Isabel, who was wearing only her yoga clothes. She stood barefoot on the living room rug, her dark hair tied back. She wore a light yellow sports bra and white yoga pants. The expanse of fair skin below her chest was smooth and flat, her stunning, fiery figure showcased to perfection by the tight-fitting clothes. From the workout, her cheeks were slightly flushed and a thin sheen of sweat covered her forehead, giving her an indescribably alluring charm. The years seemed to have left no trace on her. The skin exposed by the yoga outfit was as smooth and firm as a young woman's. Isabel felt a little self-conscious under Leo's direct gaze, but deep down, a flicker of pride ignited. To be a mother of her age and still be able to captivate a young man in his prime meant she was doing a pretty good job of maintaining her figure. You little devil, Isabel said, rolling her eyes coquettishly before disappearing into the bedroom to put on a light jacket. With Maddie at home, she was worried Leo might lose control, just like last time. Returning to the living room, she found Maddie sitting in Leo's lap, both of them grinning as they watched cartoons on the TV. Isabel sat down next to Leo, gently pinching her daughter's soft cheek. What brings you over so early? Don't you have to work on your novel? Well, Leo began, retelling the story of meeting Lily. He finished with a sigh. Aside from visiting my grandma in the country when I was a kid, I haven't seen a girl that frugal in a long, long time. Isabel sighed. That girl has had it rough. Her parents passed away when she was just a few years old. She and her grandmother survived on welfare checks. She finally got into college, but then her grandmother had a stroke and was hospitalized. The medical bills are piling up every day. Now she's working part-time at a restaurant, taking care of her grandmother, and trying to keep up with her classes. Her life is incredibly hard. I see, Leo said. Now he understood why Lily was so frugal. College was expensive, her grandmother's medical bills were probably putting her deep in debt, and she had no parents. Besides scrimping and saving every penny, what other choice did she have? Wait a minute, Isabel, how do you know all this? Leo asked, surprised. Didn't she just move in today? She told me herself yesterday when she came to see the apartment, Isabel said with a wry smile. Hard to believe, right? I haven't met such a simple, honest girl in ages. She answered every question I had, just completely guileless. Leo, you live across the hall from her. When you have time, maybe look out for her a bit, Isabel said earnestly. And if you can, try to help her with her confidence. If she goes out into the world with that personality, she's bound to be taken advantage of. I'll see what I can do, Leo said, rubbing the little girl's head, a thoughtful expression on his face. He also had a good guess as to why Lily wasn't living in the campus dorms. A dorm room at PSU cost, at most, a couple $100s a month. Given Lily's financial situation, why would she choose to rent an apartment off campus? Leo figured she must have run into some awful roommates and had no choice but to move out. College dorms for girls could be treacherous little societies. If you were lucky, you got normal roommates you could chat and watch shows with. If you were unlucky, girls would fight over a pack of tissues, and the dorm would turn into a nest of backstabbing and drama, like an emperor's harem. During his own college days, Leo had even heard rumors of a 4-person dorm room that had over a dozen different private group chats for gossiping. With Lily's timid, meek personality, if she ended up with a few difficult roommates, it would be a miracle if she wasn't pushed out. It was just how the world worked sometimes. It shouldn't be that way, but it was. After lunch, Leo watched cartoons with Maddie in the living room. Isabel washed a bowl of cherries for them, then shot Leo a meaningful look, took her phone, and disappeared into the bedroom. She came out a moment later. Maddie, sweetie, come on. Mommy needs to help you change. Your teacher will be here to pick you up soon, Isabel said with a straight face. She said there's a very important lesson this afternoon that you need to attend. I don't wanna, the little girl whined, kicking her chubby legs. It's Sunday. None of the other kids are going. Be a good girl. If you go, Mommy will buy you a chocolate cake tonight. Like most kids, Maddie had a sweet tooth, but Isabel, worried about cavities, only let her have sugary treats like that once a month at most. The promise of chocolate cake immediately perked her up. She seriously weighed her options, going to her lesson versus chocolate cake, before blinking and making a demand. You have to buy one for Mr. Leo too. Haha, okay, one for Mr. Leo too, Isabel smiled, scooping up her daughter to get her changed. As she left, she shot Leo a sultry, alluring glance. Leo, just hang out for a bit. I need you to look at my laptop later. I think something's wrong with it again. Leo's heart pounded, and he swallowed hard. He had a feeling it wasn't a laptop that needed fixing. A few minutes later, Maddie's piano teacher arrived and took her away. "Phew, it's so hot today," Isabel said, returning from seeing them off. Right in front of Leo, she took off her light jacket, revealing the uniquely mature and captivating figure beneath. Leo, aren't you hot?" "I'm okay," Leo said, his throat suddenly dry. He nervously rubbed his nose. The spacious apartment was now occupied by just the two of them, a silent understanding hanging in the air. The atmosphere instantly turned charged and ambiguous. Outside, the screeching of the cicadas seemed unusually loud and grating. On the TV, a nature documentary was playing, narrated by that classic deep-voice announcer. Spring has arrived, and with it, the season for animals to reproduce. "I've been working out lately," Isabel said, sitting down next to him. She lowered her head slightly and bravely took his large hand in hers, her voice a shy whisper. "Do you think my figure has gotten better?" Although Isabel was older, she wasn't like some of her wealthy, promiscuous friends. When it came to this sort of thing, she was still somewhat inexperienced after all. On top of that, her natural feminine modesty made her hope that Leo would be the one to take the lead. 1. Flee the scene. "Sorry, Isabel, I just remembered I left something on the stove. I should go check on it." 2. Go straight for it. Tackle her onto the sofa and treat her roughly. 3. Take it slow. Compliment her figure, initiate physical contact, and when the mood is right, push her down and take charge. "Definitely. No wonder you're in such great shape," Leo said, his hands moving to her smooth, slender waist. "So this is why you do yoga? Your waist is thinner than some celebrities." "Really?" Isabel asked, her voice full of anticipation. She was blushing, but couldn't help feeling a little proud. "Of course," Leo said. He released her waist and lifted her slender legs into his lap. "And your legs? They're more beautiful than some college girls." Isabel's legs were impeccably maintained. The skin was fair and smooth, with a healthy pinkish glow, not a single callus in sight. Holding them felt like cradling warm, smooth jade. For Leo, who had a thing for legs, they were lethally attractive. The only shame was that her feet weren't adorned with a sheer pair of stockings. "Oh, stop it. You're just flattering me," Isabel said, shyly looking away, though she kept sneaking glances at the young man who was so fascinated with her feet. It was the first time a man had ever held her legs like this. Not even her ex-husband had been so attentive. When Leo's hands began to move higher, a shiver, like an electric shock, ran through her entire body. Leo's mind went blank. All thought ceased. In one smooth motion, he scooped her up and carried her into the bedroom. "Good evening, and welcome to the nightly news." At 7 o'clock sharp, the evening news began playing on the living room TV. The previously tumultuous bedroom had fallen quiet, a calm after a fierce storm. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity for the host has increased by 20 points. Current affinity, 85. Please continue your efforts. "Oh, my darling boy, you're going to be the death of me." On the messy bed, a sweat-drenched Isabel lay sprawled on top of Leo, panting heavily like a fish out of water. Leo, on the other hand, seemed completely unfazed, gently stroking her disheveled hair. He had expected a fierce battle, but thanks to the Body Boost serum, his stamina was more than a match for the formidable Isabel. What was that saying? "In the prime of my life, I met you in yours." "You little monster, are you trying to kill me?" Isabel murmured, giving him a gentle, reproving look. Her face, however, was filled with a smile of deep satisfaction and fulfillment. From 11 in the morning until now, Leo had made her feel loved and desired again, a happiness akin to a withered tree blooming in spring. Huh? But don't they say online that there's no such thing as exhausted soil, only tired oxen? Leo asked with mock confusion. "Are you different from other women, Isabel?" "I don't care. You're just too much." Isabel rested her head on his chest, contentedly listening to the strong, steady beat of his heart. Let me rest a bit." The room fell silent, the low hum of the air conditioner now clearly audible. 20 points, Leo thought, stroking her hair. No wonder they say the way to a woman's heart is through. "Leo, is this really okay?" Isabel lifted her head, her face etched with guilt. "I'm so much older, and you're only in your 20s. I feel like this isn't fair to you." 1. Say magnanimously, "Isabel, if you feel that guilty, just transfer me a few million. You can think of me as your boy toy." 2. Lean close to her ear and tease her. "I don't feel that way at all, especially this afternoon. You have no idea how incredible you were." 3. Say nonchalantly, "Don't overthink it, Isabel. You know what they say, right? 100 years is too long. Seize the day. Not at all. I don't feel that way, Leo said, propping himself up. He shifted Isabel so she was sitting up, then wrapped his arms around her slender waist, pulling her full body into his embrace. You have no idea how captivating you are, he whispered. Especially this afternoon. Oh, stop it. You're just saying that to humor me, Isabel said, though she couldn't hide her delight. She gave him a shy glance and nestled against his chest like a pampered kitten, the very picture of a cherished woman. Just then, the phone on the nightstand rang. It was Maddie's piano teacher. Maddie's downstairs. We should get dressed, Isabel said after hanging up. She lingered in his arms for a moment, reluctant to move. Stay for dinner tonight, and you have to come over more often from now on. I don't think I can be without you, you little heartbreaker. Okay, whenever this freeloader is hungry, I'll come bother you for a meal, Leo agreed, leaning in for a hopeful kiss. And after dinner, I'll have to punish the beautiful chef a little more. You devil. A flicker of anticipation flashed in Isabel's eyes. She pushed off his firm chest to stand, her legs trembling slightly as she began to get dressed. They had just finished getting dressed when the piano teacher brought Maddie upstairs. When they opened the door, a woman with glasses was standing there, holding Maddie's hand. Maddie, clutching 2 boxes of chocolate cake, bounced excitedly into the room and offered one to Leo. For you, mister. Now. No, thanks. Maddie, you keep it, Leo said, waving his hand. I've already eaten. Any more, and I'll get a cavity. But, the little girl looked uncertainly at the 2 boxes in her hands, then looked hopefully at Isabel. Mommy, can I eat both of them? No, Isabel said firmly, taking one of the boxes. Mister, Leo doesn't dare eat 2. Aren't you afraid of getting cavities? Okay, the little girl mumbled, disappointed, but she quickly brightened up. Mister, Leo, I went to the beach and flew a kite today. Maddie's piano lesson usually ended around 5. But that afternoon, Isabel had specifically instructed the teacher to keep her out a little later. After the lesson, the teacher had taken the little girl for a walk along the riverfront and bought her 2 boxes of cake. Thank you so much for this afternoon, Ms. Lee, Isabel said, offering an invitation. It's so late. Why don't you stay for dinner? No, thank you. My grandmother already has dinner waiting. She was just texting me to come home, the teacher said with a smile, politely declining. Anyone could see what was going on, and she had no intention of being a third wheel. She was just a little envious of Isabel for finding such a handsome man. Money really did make the world go round. Even divorced with a child, you could still land a guy that young and fit. After the teacher left, Isabel, now in casual clothes, went to the kitchen to cook. Leo and Maddie sat on the sofa watching TV, and he fed the little girl bites of chocolate cake with a plastic spoon. Around 8, dinner was ready. As usual, Maddie brought her little cartoon stool over and sat down happily next to Leo. He ruffled the boisterous girl's hair and wiped a smudge of chocolate from the corner of her mouth. Isabel watched the heartwarming scene, her mind drifting. As she walked past the balcony with her chopsticks, her gaze fell on an apartment in the building across from them. A family was eating dinner, laughing and talking. On normal days, the single mother Isabel would have been incredibly envious of that family, thinking how happy and complete they looked. She would often stand on her balcony and watch them finish their meal. But now, seeing how tenderly Leo treated her daughter, a deep sense of happiness spread through her own heart. The nightly news ended, and the nature documentary started its rerun. The tiger is a fiercely territorial animal. This white tigress, with her newborn cub, lives alone in the depths of the jungle. Hearing the familiar narration, Leo shot an amused look at Isabel. She froze for a second, then, as if realizing something, gave him a playful, reproving glare and quickly looked down at her plate, her cheeks flushing pink. September was brutally hot, like living inside a furnace. The air itself seemed to shimmer with heat, making it feel suffocating and uncomfortable. For an out-of-shape homebody, this kind of weather was a lethal threat. The AC in Leo's apartment hadn't stopped running, on 24/7 duty. His fridge was stocked with cold drinks to avoid having to venture out under the venomous sun. Leo had pretty much given up on writing his novel and wasn't sure what to do next. The $100,000+ in his bank account was just sitting there, making him antsy. He was just an ordinary guy. He knew nothing about investing. His current plan was to interact more with Isabel, max out her affinity, and see what kind of prize he'd get from the so-called treasure chest before making any big decisions. Around 5 in the evening, in his ice-cold room, Leo was about to fire up a game when the special notification sound for a text from Chloe went off. Elf Princess, Peking Piglet Sticker, whatcha doing? Elf Princess was Leo's contact name for Chloe. She had that special dream girl quality of a high school crush. When he first met her, he'd been so shy and introverted. To him back then, Chloe was like a lively, cheerful elf who had burst in his gloomy goblin world. Offline mode, just woke up, about to get some writing done. Hardened by the system, Leo had learned a few things about interacting with girls. When a girlfriend asks what you're doing, it's usually because she wants to chat and kill some boredom. The guy can make up any excuse, but he should never, ever say he's about to play video games. Otherwise, she'll think, you'd rather play games than talk to me? Do I even matter to you? Since his girlfriend had appeared, Leo dutifully closed his game. Offline mode. You're about to start your freshman orientation, right? Got everything you need? You're gonna get a serious tan, you know? Elf Princess. Of course I'm ready. Look at all the gear I bought. This is my anti-orientation arsenal. Leo opened a screenshot she sent. It showed sunscreen, a water bottle, heatstroke medicine, shoe insoles, cooling spray, and even Band-Aids? Offline mode. I get the rest, but what are the Band-Aids for? It's not like orientation involves any major risk of injury, right? Leo remembered from his own orientation that a lot of the girls had mysteriously bought tons of Band-Aids. But by the end of it, he'd never seen a single girl get hurt, and the Band-Aids were never used. The typing bubble appeared for a few seconds before she sent a teasing reply. I'm not telling you I'm suspicious. Leo's intuition told him there was more to these little Band-Aids than met the eye. He immediately searched online. Why do girls buy so many Band-Aids for freshman orientation? Whoa, you can use them for that. After reading the explanation online, Leo was blown away. He couldn't believe such a small thing could have such a huge purpose. Damn, he was jealous. While Leo was lost in thought, Chloe sent him a TikTok video. He opened it and saw Chloe, dressed in a green uniform, singing to a crowd of students sitting on the grass around her. It was the talent show portion of orientation, something Leo's had as well. The instructors would just pick a few students to perform to liven up the mood and help the new freshmen get to know each other. In the video, Chloe was half pushed, half coaxed into the center of the circle by a few other girls. When she introduced herself, she took off her cap, revealing a delicate, pretty face. Although the baggy uniform hid her slender figure, her face, with its quintessential first love vibe, stunned the guys in the crowd, who immediately started murmuring and whispering in awe. She sang in a cappella version of 1,000 Years. Her voice was beautiful, and the boys watched with captivated, dreamy expressions. The video had over 100,000 likes, and most of the comments were people asking what university she went to. Elf Princess, how was my singing? Was it good? Bear with hands on hips emoji. 1. Baby, you sang so beautifully. Having a girlfriend like you must be a blessing from a past life. 2. It was SOSO, about a third as good as me singing in the shower. 3. What's going on? It's not New Year's yet. Why do I hear a pig being slaughtered? He rejected option 3 immediately. The old Leo might have actually picked the first one, which reeked of simping, but the current Leo found the sentence inexplicably repulsive and his brow furrowed. Simps really were a pathetic species. Offline mode. It was okay. SOSO. About a third as good as me singing in the shower. Chloe clearly got the joke. Ha ha. You're such a braggart. I don't believe you. Ding. Chloe Miller's affinity for the host has increased by 2 points. Current affinity, 32. Please continue your efforts. They texted back and forth like a couple glued together for another 10 minutes before Chloe suddenly typed out a complaint. Leo, my roommate, and my best friend have been so annoying these past few days. They keep telling me to bring you over so they can meet you. They say they need to vet you for me. Pouting emoji. Seeing the pouting emoji, Leo almost misinterpreted her meaning, thinking she didn't want him to meet her friends. But when a girl is in a real relationship with a guy she genuinely likes, there's no way she'd keep him hidden. When a relationship is new, the girl is usually eager to introduce her boyfriend to her friends, hoping for their blessing. A word of warning to all guys. If your girlfriend is unwilling to introduce you as her boyfriend on her social media or to her friends, there are 2 possible reasons. You haven't yet met her standards in some way. She's just with you for now, and she's waiting for you to improve before she's willing to make it public. Even though you're together, she doesn't really care about you. She might even think that introducing you to her friends would be embarrassing. So, Chloe's pouting emoji was obviously a way to gauge Leo's willingness. They want to meet me? So let them meet me, Leo replied generously. It's not like I'm some kind of monster. I can come see you whenever you're free. Really? Chloe replied quickly. Then after orientation is over, let's take them out to dinner. That way they'll stop making their passive-aggressive comments all the time. Deal. I'll make the arrangements. You just bring them along. Okay. By the way, Leo, send me your address. I saw this really nice necklace on TikTok the other day. I'll buy the silver one for you, and you can buy the pink one for me. How about that? No problem. Send me the link and your address. Okay, send it. I gotta go for now. I'm gonna take a shower. These band-aids are so uncomfortable. The moment she sent the message, she immediately retracted it. Did you see that? The band-aid trick was a secret passed down through generations of female students. After all, when you're doing intense exercise for over a week in a uniform made of rough material, accidental friction can be very awkward and painful for girls. That's when the band-aids came in handy. 1. See what? What did you retract? 2. Send her your address and ask her to mail you the band-aids so you can use them to make tea. 3. Where the band-aids stuck? Can you elaborate? Leo sent his shipping address to Chloe. Here's my address. How long will it take to get here? Phew, he didn't see it. Chloe felt a wave of relief. She subconsciously tugged at her baggy green uniform and typed back, "The necklace, I've already ordered it. It should get there in about 3 days. Offline mode. I was talking about the band-aids. Even if he were a total degenerate, Leo didn't have the guts to type out the part about making tea. Of course, this kind of flirtatious teasing had to be deployed at the right time and with the right level of emotional intimacy. Otherwise, your girlfriend would think you were a total weirdo, and her affinity would plummet. But after their makeout session at the park, where he had already touched her, this kind of comment wouldn't make her angry. Instead, it would just serve to lower her boundaries in that area. The next time they went out on a date, when things got heated, there would be even more he could do. Even so, just that one sentence made Chloe blush furiously, reminding her of all the things he had done to her in the gazebo. Pouting, she spammed him with several bonking emojis and, with a racing heart, typed, "Perv. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm going to shower." Haha. Leo chuckled knowingly. He then opened the link Chloe had sent and saw that it wasn't just any necklace, but a matching couple's set. So proud. It's not like it's a big deal to just say it, he muttered, shaking his head. He then bought the pink necklace she had mentioned, a wave of accomplishment washing over him. In high school, Leo had often seen girls folding paper stars for the boys they liked. In college, he'd seen girls buying all sorts of mementos for their boyfriends. After graduation, whenever a holiday came around, he didn't dare open his social media feeds, which would be flooded with guys showing off the gifts their girlfriends bought them. Whenever he was force-fed this public display of affection, Leo, like every other single guy, felt a pang of envy. They all hoped to one day meet a girl who would love them and invest in them. And now, he had met such a girl, one who only had eyes for him. Before, the shy, introverted Leo would never have dared to even dream of this. It was no exaggeration to say that back then, he felt he didn't even deserve this kind of simple happiness, let alone from the campus belle of PSU. Sometimes Leo wondered, if he hadn't taken the initiative and talked to Chloe that day when he was buying candied nuts, would they be complete strangers now, their paths never crossing? It was true what they said. The handsome have partners, the ugly have partners. Only the ones who cower in their own little worlds don't deserve to have anyone. With that thought, he opened Chloe's TikTok video again and scrolled to the comments. OMG, I'm in love. Even that ugly uniform can't hide my wife's radiance. What university is this? What's her name? I need to know. It's urgent. To the guy above, this is Portland State University. She's a freshman, Chloe Miller, and she's still single. The thought of such a beautiful girl sleeping with another guy someday is making me stomp my feet in frustration here in California. Still single? Great. Ryan Gosling from Ohio has a chance. Sorry, fellas. Leo read through the comments without a trace of jealousy. In fact, he smugly typed out his own reply. What's with all the hype? I don't think she's that great. She bites when you kiss her. A few minutes later, his delusional comment attracted a flood of replies from simps. I've read all the comments. You're definitely the biggest bullshitter here. I can confirm. I am the campus belle Chloe. Don't engage, guys. Don't give this kid the satisfaction. Send in the trolls. Leo sighed with smug satisfaction. TSK, TSK. Why does no one believe the truth these days? By the time Chloe Miller's freshman orientation was over, it was already the end of September, but the weather was still freakishly hot. Even the occasional breeze felt like it was coming out of a blast furnace. Aside from construction workers toiling under the brutal sun, you hardly saw any students wandering around campus during the day. Only when night fell, or on the rare day when the temperature dropped, did the freshmen start to emerge, curiously exploring the university they just arrived at. If you were lucky, you might even spot a few couples getting cozy in the wooded area by the man-made lake. On this sweltering afternoon, inside a women's dorm room, Chloe Miller's roommates were finishing their elaborate preparations. They were about to meet the boyfriend the campus belle had been hiding for nearly a month. Chloe's roommates were all attractive, with good figures. Maya Pierce, in particular, was easily on par with Chloe in looks and build. Maya was wearing a breezy, maroon lace top that looked like it had been custom altered. It revealed not only her delicate collarbones and the subtle hint of a cleavage, but also a sliver of her smooth midriff. Below, she wore a blue, retro-style denim pleated skirt. The buckle of a brown leather belt displayed prominently. Her long, tanned legs drew lingering glances from every student who walked by. Her striking face was done up with slightly more mature makeup, and paired with a cool, edgy outfit, she looked less like a college freshman and more like a bad girl who knew her way around the city's nightclubs. The truth was, Maya was a homebody who rarely made an appearance in front of other students, which had inadvertently cast her as the supporting character to Chloe's lead. On the rare occasion someone did see her and try to get her number, Maya would just smile and say she already had a boyfriend. To this online player who had seen it all when it came to men, guys were just a way to pass the time. Her standards for a partner were unconventional, even bizarre, and she'd only ever shared them with her best friend, Chloe. No ordinary guy could ever meet her criteria, a fact Chloe often teased her about, calling her requirements ridiculously strange. Today was the first day after the long and arduous freshman orientation, and also the first day of a 7-day break. In a city like Portland, where every square foot was prime real estate, Portland State University held a decent reputation. It was an upper mid-tier school that had even produced a few notable alumni who'd made the news. The entrance to PSU was packed with students in school gear, their skin darkened by the sun. A number of cars were parked along the curb, parents waiting to take their kids home for the holiday break. These were mostly the parents of freshmen. By sophomore and junior year, not only were the parents less inclined to make the trip, but the students themselves couldn't be bothered to travel all the way home. When Chloe and her roommates, all dressed up, appeared at the school gate, they immediately became the center of attention for students and parents alike. A few parents even asked their own kids, "Isn't that the girl who was singing on TikTok a while back?" Summer was the season for women to confidently show off their figures. Most of the girls at the gate were in short skirts, their long, toned legs on full display, showcasing their grace and charm. Chloe's outfit today was also light and cool. She wore a white t-shirt with a cartoon Mickey Mouse on it, and below her light blue denim hot pants were a pair of slender, lightly tanned legs. The sweet, expectant smile on her face as she laughed and chatted with her roommates was especially captivating to the guys nearby. For many of them, their idealized first love looked exactly like this, a sweet, cheerful girl. Even with a bit of a tan, she was still one of PSU's reigning campus belles, the unattainable girl of countless guys' dreams. Unfortunately, the rumor going around campus was that Chloe already had a boyfriend. She had never bothered to confirm or deny it, leaving a few hopefuls clinging to a sliver of a chance. That hope was crushed a few days ago when they saw the pink necklace around her neck. The campus subreddit exploded in a collective cry of despair as countless guys declared themselves heartbroken. Someone had confirmed it. The necklace Chloe was wearing was the most popular viral couple's necklace on TikTok. That piece of jewelry, worth a couple $100, symbolized that the dream girl of so many had already been claimed by someone else. Maya lifted a hand to shield her eyes from the vicious sun. "Chloe, is your boy toy here yet? It's so hot." "Hey, he's your boy toy." Chloe shot back, her face flushing slightly as she playfully tried to pinch her friend's mouth. Their other roommates covered their mouths, giggling. After a moment of horseplay, Chloe said, "He texted. He's on his way. Should be here any minute." Just then, Leo's silver Mercedes appeared at the end of the street. Chloe's face lit up, and she waved eagerly. "He's here." Her roommates immediately looked in the direction she was pointing, dying to see just how handsome the guy who had managed to win over PSU's campus belle really was. Maya, however, nodded with a look of approval. "Oh, Mercedes. Looks like he's got a little money." Leo pulled up beside them and got out. Chloe immediately started complaining. "What took you so long? It's boiling out here." "Sorry, traffic was a nightmare." "This whole street is packed with parents picking up their kids," Leo said gently, wiping a bead of sweat from her forehead. He then took her arm, which had tanned to a light bronze, and looked at it with a mixture of amusement and concern. "You got really dark. Couldn't you have just asked your orientation leader for a break?" "When I did orientation, practically every girl in my group found an excuse to skip." "Oh, please. None of the girls in my group skipped. I didn't want to be the special one," Chloe grumbled, though her face was still beaming with a dependent smile. Her eyes then fell on the silver necklace around Leo's neck. "Hee so? Do you like the necklace I picked out?" "Yeah, it's not bad," Leo replied, noticing she was also wearing the pink one he'd bought for her. "Ahem. Hello." Could you two maybe consider our feelings for a second? Maya interjected, not knowing whether to laugh or cry at their public display of affection. The sun is massive. Can we please get in the car first? Once we're inside, you can strip naked and chat all you want. I won't say a word. These are my roommates, and this is my best friend, Maya, Chloe said, finally remembering the others. Her cheeks flushed as she made the introductions. When it came to Leo, she gave a proud but perfunctory intro. This is Leo Shepherd. You all know who he is, so I won't say more. Leo looked at the group of girls, and a system prompt immediately appeared in his vision. 1. Friendly compliment. Well, look at you all. My car is definitely lucky today. 2. Annoyed inquiry. Don't you three have any sense? Couldn't you have called an Uber? Do you know what a date is? 3. Eager invitation. Damn, you're all pretty hot. Let's go to the coast. I'll rent a yacht. We can have a party. Hey, nice to meet you all, Leo said with a friendly greeting. He gave the roommates a quick glance and smiled. Wow, you're all gorgeous. My car is definitely lucky today. The roommate smiled back, a little shy but pleased. No girl dislikes being called beautiful, which is the main reason why so many simps exist. Of course, you had to pick your time and place for compliments. Mindless, random praise would just make you a simp. A playful smile crossed Maya's lips, her eyes twinkling. So, Leo, beside your girlfriend, who do you think is the prettiest? The question seemed simple, but it was a minefield. A guy with low social IQ would never detect the danger lurking within. Most guys, faced with this, would give the straightforward answer. You're all beautiful. That response might work, but the girl who asked would almost certainly press you to pick just one. And the moment she did, no matter who you chose, you'd inevitably offend the others to some degree. Even worse, some girls might even ask you to rank them by attractiveness. Of course, that would be going too far. Only a complete idiot would ask a question like that. But Leo was fearless. He had a cheat code. 1. Rigorous demand. I can't tell with your clothes on. How about you take them off so I can conduct a thorough review? 2. Frank answer. The other two are very pretty. Then look at the asker with mock disdain. As for you, if I hadn't met Chloe, I probably would have pursued you. 3. Approach her and slap her across the face. See if she still wants to act crazy. Those two are very pretty, Leo answered smoothly, then paused deliberately, looking Maya up and down with an air of playful disdain. As for you, the other two roommates exchanged glances, feeling a little thrill of excitement, but also a bit awkward for Maya. Leo's dismissive attitude didn't seem very friendly. Was he about to call Maya ugly? That would really ruin the nice atmosphere. Well, what about me? Maya's eyebrow twitched. She gripped her purse a little tighter, forcing a strained smile. How do I rate? If I hadn't met Chloe, Leo said with a teasing grin, I probably would have pursued you first. Hey, you wouldn't dare. The words were barely out of his mouth before Chloe's playful fists were flying at him. She's my best friend. Well, it was a joke. Don't bite me. Leo laughed, dodging her flurry of attacks while urging everyone. All right, let's get in the car and blast the AC. It's too hot out here. Watching the two of them, the roommates were stunned for a second, then burst out into unexpected laughter. Chloe's boyfriend was actually pretty cool. The girls piled into the car, chattering and laughing. The potentially awkward atmosphere had been completely diffused by Leo's flawless comeback, replaced by a lively, cheerful energy. Leo pointed to a red plastic bag next to Chloe, filled with a few bottles of chilled and room-temperature drinks he just bought. Chloe, pass those out to your friends. Okay. Chloe, no longer bothered by his earlier comment, since everyone knew it was a joke, happily handed out the drinks. She chose a room-temperature bottle for herself. Can't have anything cold. What a shame, Leo muttered under his breath. So, Leo, when did you and Chloe meet? Leo, where are you from? With cold drinks in hand, the roommates were eager to talk to Leo. He was handsome, and he looked like he was in good shape. But guys like that were a dime a dozen at PSU. More than looks, girls were drawn to a guy with a sense of humor and a fun personality. Of course, that didn't apply to guys who were genuinely hard on the eyes. No matter how funny they were, they'd only ever be the court jesters. Hey, what are you guys doing? Chloe protested, seeing her roommates fawning over him. Can't you see he's driving? She was starting to regret bringing him to meet this bunch. This guy is good, Maya, the self-proclaimed expert on men, thought to herself in the back seat. She studied Leo's handsome profile and nodded with a strange sense of respect. She and Chloe had been best friends for years, so she would never have seriously tried to give Chloe's boyfriend a hard time. But Chloe had been completely wrapped up in Leo lately, and Maya had felt a little jealous, so she wanted to see him squirm just a little. She never expected him to handle her tricky question so effortlessly, even managing to turn it back on her with a flirtatious counter. Maya was certain. This guy's game was on a whole other level than hers. Ding. Katie's affinity for host has increased by 20 points. Current affinity, 48. Keep up the good work. Ding. Laura's affinity for host has increased by 10 points. Current affinity, 35. Keep up the good work. Ding. Maya Pierce's affinity for host has increased by 2 points. Current affinity, 7. Keep up the good work. Leo treated Chloe's roommates to a lavish seafood dinner, then took them around Portland's famous Pearl District for the afternoon. It wasn't until evening that they started thinking about heading back. Leo, can we get your number? Yeah, Leo, next time we're free, you should drive us out somewhere fun again. After spending the day together, the roommates were incredibly envious of Chloe. Her boyfriend was funny, charming, and handsome. Even with Chloe right there, they boldly asked for his contact information. One of them was even entertaining a daring idea. If she got his number, she'd make her move immediately. Leo was naturally enjoying himself. Not because he was surrounded by beautiful girls, but because of the hundreds of thousands of dollars flowing into his account. Over the course of the afternoon, with the system's help, Leo had racked up over $80,000 in cash rewards from Chloe's roommates. Except for the more resistant Maya, whose affinity was only at 7, the other two roommates' feelings for him had skyrocketed. One of them, a cute, petite girl with her hair in a bun named Katie, had reached a staggering 48 affinity points. Leo figured if he got her number, he could probably just give her a call and invite her to a hotel to discuss the profound mysteries of life. Of course, Leo wasn't that classless. A girl whose affinity rose that quickly was likely on the more open-minded side. When you already had a campus belle girlfriend like Chloe, why would you take such a low-level risk? No way. Leo is mine. Chloe immediately hugged Leo's arm, declaring her sovereignty as she proudly rejected them on his behalf. My number is the only one he needs. So stingy, the two roommates pouted, but there was nothing they could do. He was, after all, someone else's boyfriend. All right, let's just get an Uber back, Maya said, stretching lazily. Let's not get in the way of their quality time. At that, Chloe shot Maya a look of profound gratitude. That's my best friend. Leo, our Chloe is in your hands now, Maya said, her tone serious. But if you dare break her heart, I'll... She raised her hand and made a snipping motion with her fingers, the meaning perfectly clear. After observing him all afternoon, Maya felt that this guy was pretty decent. At the very least, he seemed genuinely good to her best friend. The only thing that worried her was how incredibly smooth he was. In just one afternoon, he had her roommates completely smitten. Even she had felt her own resolve waver. Who knew what this guy was like when he was out on his own? But with a girlfriend as beautiful as Chloe, he probably won't be chasing after other girls, right? Maya thought to herself. If you don't come back tonight, remember to use protection, Maya called out with a grin as she got in her Uber. I've told you before, I don't want to be a godmother while I'm still a freshman. The two of them had been inseparable since middle school, the kind of friends who shared everything, except boyfriends. They had promised each other that whoever had a baby first, the other would have to be the godmother. Saying this in front of everyone now was Maya's indirect way of giving Leo her seal of approval. Getting the best friend's approval was almost as important as getting the parents'. Leo nodded seriously, his arm wrapped around Chloe's slim waist. You can count on me. I'll keep such a close eye on her, she won't even be able to blink without me knowing. Chloe had been a little embarrassed, but seeing Leo's earnest expression, she just smiled sweetly and squeezed his hand tighter. Like most girls in their first relationship, Chloe believed every promise the guys she liked made. A promise like Leo's, which had absolutely no substance, was exactly what she loved to hear. She even wished he'd say more things like that. This was why girls adored cheesy, cringe-worthy sweet talk that would make any outsider gag. In a first love, a girl invests her entire being, constantly fantasizing about a future with her partner. Simply put, she was love-struck. It would only be after getting her heart broken once that she'd learn to be wary of such promises. Good. You're teachable, Maya said with a satisfied nod. She then left with the other two roommates, who cast reluctant glances back. Come on, let's go get the car, Leo said, gently swinging their clasped hands. How about we go see a movie tonight? One of the late ones, after midnight. Chloe had been basking in the sweet atmosphere, but the words movie after midnight instantly put her on high alert. She narrowed her eyes. After the movie, are you planning on tricking me into going to a hotel? Girls these days were sharp. Thanks to all the relationship memes and tutorial videos online, even the most innocent girl knew what a guy meant by a movie after midnight. What do you mean, trick? Leo retorted shamelessly. This isn't a trick. This is the natural culmination of a long simmering passion. Oh, you guys are all the same. That's all you ever think about, Chloe huffed, her face turning a light shade of pink. But she was starting to feel conflicted. When it came to that sort of thing, Chloe's knowledge was a bit vague, but she wasn't a complete novice. She and her best friend had huddled under the covers to watch educational films together, so she knew the basics. It was just that now, facing the real test herself, she felt nervous and uncertain. I can't have anything cold today, Chloe mumbled, her voice as quiet as a mosquito's buzz. I didn't bring my ID. She finished and peeked at Leo, gauging his reaction. Huh. Whoa, Chloe, what's gotten into you? Leo feigned surprise. We've only known each other for a little while, and you're already after my body? Can't you be a little more reserved? Ooh, who's after your body? Chloe realized the tables had been turned on her, and her face went crimson. You were the one who suggested it. Being misunderstood about something so intimate left the innocent Chloe both flustered and furious. In her rush to defend herself, her cute little canine teeth were bared, making her look adorably fierce. Ha. Okay, fine, I'm after your body, happy now? Leo couldn't help but laugh at her reaction. I'll take you back to your dorm right after the movie. What does that sound? You're so annoying, Chloe grumbled, giving his side a light pinch. Only then did she contentedly press against his arm again. Since they decided on a midnight movie, there was no rush to get the car. They continued to stroll aimlessly along the bustling streets. They had eaten dinner earlier in the Pearl District, and now, without realizing it, they had walked to one of Portland's most famous landmarks, the White Stag sign. The iconic, brightly lit sign stood proudly on the waterfront, overlooking the city's vibrant beauty by the Willamette River. Night had fallen, and the sign, along with the glowing bridges, turned the skyline into a constellation of dazzling stars. The area was filled with tourists and locals out for an evening walk. Leo, let's take a picture, Chloe said, gently swaying his arm. Her clingy gesture showed that, in her heart, she had already fully accepted him as her boyfriend. All right, Leo agreed. Following Chloe's lead, Leo held up her pale, slender hand with his own, aiming it towards the sparkling city lights. Chloe was a great photographer and quickly captured the romantic moment on her phone. How is it? Chloe shared the photo with Leo, tilting her head up with a sweet, expectant look, playfully seeking praise from her boyfriend. It's okay. About a third as good as my work, Leo shrugged dismissively. You're such a show-off. Chloe gave him an adorable eye roll. She looked down at the picture on her phone, their two arms reaching towards the city lights, and a sweet smile spread across her face. Holy crap, Chloe Miller. No way, it really is her, which means that's her boyfriend. Just then, a group of guys passed by them, their eyes wide with disbelief. Classmates of yours? Leo asked curiously. Only student from PSU would have such a strong reaction. After all, the girl in his arms was PSU's new campus belle, the dream girl of countless guys. I don't know. Ignore them, Chloe said, not bothering to care what they thought. She never wanted to be a campus belle in the first place. It was a title those guys had presumptuously forced on her, one that had earned her a lot of baseless hate on the PSU subreddit. I see. Leo glanced back thoughtfully. The guys were glaring at him with a mixture of envy, jealousy, and hatred, as if he'd stolen their girlfriends. Leo paused for a second, then a grin spread across his face. Right in front of them, he leaned in and planted a loud kiss on Chloe's pale cheek, pulling her soft body even tighter against his. Hey, Chloe murmured shyly, but instead of pulling away, she leaned further into his embrace, the very picture of a doted-on girlfriend. Damn it! The sight of their lovey-dovey display made the guys behind them grind their teeth in frustration. After the midnight movie, Leo drove Chloe back to the entrance of her campus. Well, I'm heading back then, Chloe asked tentatively as she unbuckled her seatbelt. Leo nodded. Yeah, text me when you get to your room. He was a little disappointed, but there was nothing to be done. She couldn't have anything cold today, and she didn't have her ID, so a hotel was out of the question. He hadn't really been pushing for it anyway. He had just wanted to walk around with her and get to know her friends. They had known each other for less than 2 months, and he hadn't laid the proper groundwork. It would have been strange if she had agreed to go to a hotel. But Chloe didn't get out of the car right away. Instead, she puffed out her cheeks and stared at him, looking annoyed. What's wrong? Leo's heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Was she actually fine with cold drinks? Was a hotel still on the table? In the next second, Chloe leaned over and gave him a quick peck on the cheek. Leo the pig, she huffed bossily. Can't you be a little more proactive next time? I'm a girl, you know. Okay, I'm going. Text me when you get back. With that, Chloe happily opened the car door and walked towards the campus entrance, humming a cheerful little tune. TCH. And here I thought we were at a hotel, Leo thought. He touched the slightly warm, damp spot on his cheek and watched her cheerful figure disappear. A smile formed on his lips as he drove away. When Leo got back to his apartment, he lay down on his bed and opened his phone to text Chloe, only to find she had just updated her social media profile. He tapped on it and saw the picture they had taken under the city lights, their hands clasped together. The caption was a clear relationship announcement. No need for spring blossoms. The one I was waiting for is already here. Smiling face with hearts, smiling face with hearts. Maya Pierce. Ugh, the secondhand sweetness is killing me. Katie, I'm so jealous. When will I find a guy like your boyfriend? Freshman class president. It's finally official. I guess another huge wave of guys in our class just had their hearts broken. Laura. Chloe, I can't believe you're really dating someone. Why no selfie? Katie said he's super handsome. Is that true? Smirking face, Katie replied to Laura. It's true. The guy is really handsome, and he's so considerate. Loudly crying face. Besides the girls, plenty of guys saw Chloe's post too. Most were her classmates from middle and high school. After graduation, she hadn't deleted them out of courtesy. Before they found prettier girls, these guys would occasionally check in on Chloe, clinging to the sliver of hope that they might still have a chance. Seeing this post, some of them finally let go, while others felt the sting of heartbreak. The feelings were complicated. After all, this was the girl they had secretly or openly crushed on for years, and now she had been won over by someone else. Of course it hurt. That feeling of loss would probably only fade when they found a girlfriend of their own or met someone even more beautiful than Chloe. Of course, Leo wasn't friends with any of Chloe's other contacts. He couldn't see their comments. To him, the post was blank underneath. So, with a mischievous grin, he typed a 2-word reply. Congrats. Instantly, a message from Chloe popped up, demanding an explanation. Leo the pig. What's congrats supposed to mean? Angry face. Offline mode. Haha, just kidding. I wanted to chat, but didn't know if you were asleep yet. Elf princess. I just posted. How could I be asleep? And why haven't you posted anything? I did. Pouting cat face. 1. Rebuttal. If you found a priceless gem on the street, would you announce it to everyone? 2. Disappointment. We haven't even slept together. I haven't even gotten a taste of your ice cream. What's there to announce? 3. Caution. Too many guys have a crush on you. I'm afraid if I'm too flashy, I'll get jumped walking down the street. Offline mode. Silly, let me ask you something. If you found $100 on the street, would you post about it? Elf princess. Yeah, I would. But I'd probably give it to my RA. Offline mode. What if you found $10 million? Smirking face. Watching the typing. Bubble appear and disappear. Leo could perfectly picture the sweet, happy smile on Chloe's face as she read his message, her feet kicking playfully at the edge of her bed. Elf princess. But I already posted. Soon everyone in our class will know I'm dating someone. You should post one too, pleading face. Offline mode. You leave me no choice. Leo took the picture from their date and posted it with the caption. Went out for a bite, came back with a girlfriend. Before posting, Leo blocked his 2 goofy sisters and his parents. His parents were desperate for him to get a girlfriend. They didn't care if she was pretty as long as she was a girl. They were dying for him to give them a grandchild. If they saw this post, they'd be over here tomorrow demanding a full interrogation. It was too much trouble to think about. As for his 2 silly sisters, he just didn't feel like telling them. Riley, especially, would just make some sarcastic comment. Better to avoid the hassle. Once he and Chloe had been dating for a while, he'd find a good time to bring her home. Just in case, Leo also blocked his landlady. Although Isabel had promised not to interfere with his dating life, who could guarantee a woman's promise wouldn't change? Leo also had a few close friends he'd grown up with. As soon as he published the post, their shocked comments started rolling in. Holy shit, you son of a bitch actually found someone. You better be sending us some cash for this. Damn, so that's why you moved out. I tried to get you to come to the land center for an all-nighter and got nothing. Turns out you found a girlfriend. What does she look like? DM me a pic. Elf princess. Where'd you pick up such a pretty girlfriend? I want to go pick one up too. Smirking face offline mode replied to Elf princess. How do you know she's pretty just from her hand? Elf princess replied to offline mode. I don't care. She just is. Pouting face. Such a drama queen. Leo chuckled. He opened his chat with Chloe. Are you free for the whole 7-day break? I'll come find you tomorrow. Elf princess. I can't. I have to go home and see my parents tomorrow. Loudly crying face. All right, well, just text me when you're free. Okay. The 2 of them chatted until after 3 a.m. When Chloe said her roommates were starting to complain, Leo closed the chat and went to sleep. The next afternoon, Leo received a text from Isabel Vance. She asked him to drive to the Sovereign Hotel downtown to pick her up and then they could go buy some summer clothes for Maddie. Lately, Isabel had been busy hiring a property manager for the waterfront spire, so they hadn't had much time to see each other, though they texted frequently. Isabel's affinity for Leo had reached a solid 90 points. Just 10 more points, and his landlady would be the first woman he'd successfully maxed out. Leo planned to secure those last 10 points today and get his extra treasure chest. As Leo was closing his door to leave, Lily Reed from across the hall happened to be coming out as well, holding a plastic bag and a thermos. Lily's clothes were still simple, an old high school uniform top and a pair of faded pink running shoes. The clip in her braided hair was even a little rusty, but this modest attire couldn't hide her tall figure or her delicate, moving beauty. After half a month of freshman orientation, her fair skin had tanned to a light bronze, which didn't look out of place but instead added a different kind of charm. For a girl, Lily was very tall, nearly 5'7". This top-tier combination of looks and figure was paired with a timid personality, her eyes always carrying an unmistakable hint of humility. After locking her door, Lily turned and met Leo's gaze. She froze for a few seconds, then awkwardly held up the trash bag in her hand, as if confessing to a crime. I'm going to take out the trash, she said softly. Then I have to go to the hospital to see my grandma. I know, Leo couldn't help but chuckle. Taking out the trash is taking out the trash. Why report to me? Leo went to press the elevator button, and Lily stood behind him, furtively studying her kind neighbor. She still remembered how, when she first moved in, he had enthusiastically helped her with her luggage and even given her his recyclables to sell. When Leo turned to look at her, she quickly averted her eyes, staring anxiously at the trash bag in her hand. Elevator's here, Leo said. Okay, Lily replied, as if she'd been given an order, scurrying over with her things. She waited for Leo to enter the elevator before nervously following, instinctively pressing herself into a corner as if afraid to accidentally touch him. Leo broke the silence. The landlady told me you're still in college. PSU, right? Yes, Lily nodded, saying nothing more. How's your grandmother doing? Is her health any better? At the mention of her grandmother, a shadow of sorrow crossed Lily's face, and she gave an almost imperceptible shake of her head. I see. Leo didn't know what else to say. The girl was a true conversation killer, responding only with nods and head shakes. After Lily got off on the ground floor, Leo took the elevator down to the underground parking garage. Damn, it's hot today, he muttered as the glaring sun hit him. He quickly put on a pair of dark sunglasses. Just as Leo was driving his Mercedes out of the apartment complex, he saw Lily by the side of the road. Under the brutal sun, she was frowning as she walked towards the bus stop, her tall figure exuding a strange sense of resilience. Leo was about to turn around and offer her a ride to the hospital, but he saw a bus approaching in front of her and changed his mind. He hadn't driven far when he noticed in his rearview mirror that Lily hadn't gotten on the bus. She was still carrying the thermos, continuing to walk under the blazing sun. Are you serious? Leo muttered in disbelief. He spent a few minutes turning the car around and pulled up behind her. Aren't you going to the hospital? Leo took off his sunglasses, honked a couple of times, and rolled down the window. Why didn't you take the bus? Lily wiped the sweat from her forehead and said weakly, I wanted to walk. Leo was stunned. Which hospital is your grandma in? Lily thought for a moment. OHSU Hospital. What the hell, are you okay? OHSU is over 10 miles from here. It'll take you at least 2 hours to walk. Are you running a marathon? Leo was shocked. He quickly opened the passenger side door. Get in. I'll give you a ride. No, you don't have to. Lily waved her hands, overwhelmed by the offer. I can take the bus back. You don't have to trouble yourself. Leo shook his head, trying to persuade her. Is that soup you made? It'll be cold by the time you walk there. The nurse said she could heat it up for me yesterday. Really, it's no trouble for you, Lily explained, unfazed. Why are you so stubborn? Leo couldn't understand her logic. Is a few bucks for bus fare really worth it? If you walk in this heat, you'll get heat stroke. Then you'll be in the hospital along with your grandma. Who's going to take care of you? Lily fell silent, clutching the thermos of chicken soup without a word. The scorching sun beat down on her. Beads of sweat rolled down her forehead and dripped onto the concrete, evaporating almost instantly. Get in. I'll give you a ride. It's on my way anyway. Really, Leo's patience wore thin. Can you just hurry up? Please don't yell at me. Lily flinched, her delicate face crumpling as her eyes turned red, on the verge of tears. She had been about to refuse again, but seeing his slightly harsh expression, she trembled and walked over, bending down to get into the passenger seat. Once inside, Lily instinctively curled into a ball, trying to make as few movements as possible, terrified of breaking something inside the car. She even kept her but slightly lifted off the seat, afraid she might damage the cushion. I don't know why you're so stubborn, Leo said, noticing she was drenched in sweat. He turned the AC down a bit and reminded her, buckle up. The seatbelt. Lily quickly placed the thermos by her feet, glanced at how Leo's was fastened, and then reached for her own, trying to imitate him. Please fasten your seatbelt, the car's voice assistant prompted. Lily shot a panicked look at Leo, afraid he would scold her. In her flustered state, her mind went blank. Her hands were slick with nervous sweat, and she couldn't get the buckle to click, no matter how hard she tried. You're hopeless, Leo sighed with a smile. He unbuckled his own seatbelt and leaned over to help her with hers. Ding! Lily Reed's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 15. Keep up the good work. Hearing the system's notification, Leo turned his head curiously to look at Lily. He found her staring at him, completely captivated, her slightly red-rimmed eyes filled with a pitiable dependence. Can you straighten your legs and sit properly? Leo sighed, looking at her curled-up posture. This car can handle you. Don't worry about breaking it, he teased. Sorry. Lily quickly straightened her long legs and sat up, her hands gripping the seatbelt. She looked at Leo tentatively. Is this okay? Whoa, are you for real? The moment Lily sat up straight, Leo was so stunned by her exaggerated figure that he was speechless. He swallowed hard, feeling a restless stir within him. He was too embarrassed to keep staring, but a part of him still suspected he had seen wrong. How had he not noticed Lily was so generously endowed before? I'm not the best driver, Leo said, still trying to get to the bottom of things. Maybe you should hold that thermos, just in case it spills. Okay, Lily responded blankly. Not wanting to unbuckle her seatbelt, she bent over to pick up the thermos from the floor. This movement caused the seatbelt across her chest to pull taut, tightly cinching her prominent curves. Leo's eyes widened. Could this be the window God opened for this poor girl? She was already beautiful, and now this incredible figure on top of it all. It was truly magnificent. Is this okay? Lily asked, holding the thermos and looking at Leo with wide, innocent eyes. I'm sorry, Leo said, feeling incredibly guilty. He had tricked this innocent and unfortunate girl into making such a suggestive move just to satisfy his own curiosity. Lily didn't understand why he was apologizing. In nothing, Leo gave a sheepish smile and quickly hit the gas, heading towards OHSU Hospital. As the car started moving, Lily looked tense. Her hands gripped the seatbelt tightly, and her delicate face was a little pale. Have you never been in a car before? Leo asked curiously. Lily shook her head. I have, but I get scared, so I always sit in the back. I'll drive slower then. If you're scared, just hold on to the handle, Leo offered. His driving skills really weren't the best, and his occasional sudden braking made Lily's heart pound. As they passed through an intersection, Leo suddenly felt a warmth on his thigh. He looked down and saw Lily's sweaty hand clamped tightly onto his leg. Lily looked at him with pleading eyes, her voice trembling. I'm sorry. I'm a little scared. 1. Angry rebuke. Are you an idiot? Can't you see I'm driving? If we crash, are you going to take responsibility? 2. Gentle reassurance. Don't be afraid. I'm here. 3. Scornful taunt. A country bumpkin is a country bumpkin. What's there to be afraid of in a car? Don't be afraid. I'm here. The other 2 options were too cruel. Leo gently covered Lily's soft hand with his own and said warmly, It's okay. I'll drive slower. We're almost there. There wasn't much traffic, so Leo slowed down. He could manage steering with one hand. Thank you, Lily whispered, her heart warmed by the heat from his hand. Her eyes grew misty as she thanked him. Ding! Lily Reed's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 20. Keep up the good work. This is going up way too fast, Leo thought to himself. At this rate, he felt like he could probably trick this sweet, naive girl into his bed in less than a week. At the same time, Leo was baffled. Were all the guys at PSU blind? A girl with Lily's looks and figure could easily rival Chloe for the campus belle title. Why was no one pursuing her? Why was she bullied in her class and even kicked out of her dorm room without anyone standing up for her? It was all too strange, but Leo didn't feel right asking her directly, afraid of reopening old wounds. When they arrived at the entrance to OHSU Hospital and the car came to a stop, Lily thanked Leo profusely. Thank you so much. Don't thank me just yet, Leo said with a smile, tilting his chin. Here, unbuckle your seatbelt, and then buckle it again. Let me see if you've learned. Okay. Lily seriously unbuckled the belt. She looked intently at Leo's seatbelt for a moment, then began fastening her own as if facing a great enemy. If no one was watching, Lily, being a university student, would have figured out something so simple very quickly. But with Leo's eyes on her, she became inexplicably nervous. She fumbled with it for several minutes, getting more and more flustered. Finally, she looked at Leo helplessly, then quickly lowered her head, afraid he would scold her. "What's the rush?" Leo leaned over, took the buckle, and patiently instructed her. "First, pull it out, then find the right angle and click it in. It's that simple. It's not as complicated as you think. Here, you try again." "Okay." Lily took a deep breath. By trying her best not to look at Leo, she finally managed to click the seatbelt into place. A smile as bright as the stars appeared on her lips. Ding! Lily Reed's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 25. Keep up the good work. Leo, look. In her moment of joy, Lily's voice was unconsciously louder. When she looked up at Leo, she shyly averted her gaze again, her fingers fiddling with the seatbelt. Her voice returned to its usual timid whisper. I did it." Leo just smiled, silently watching this endearingly clumsy, unfortunate girl. The atmosphere in the car suddenly became delicate, and the system's options popped up again. 1. Lovingly caress her cheek and gently kiss her. 2. Gently caress her cheek and praise her with a smile. 3. Scornfully taunt her. It took you this long to learn how to buckle a seatbelt. What's there to be excited about? Besides option 3, the first two options were both quite intimate. This didn't mean Lily was an open person. On the contrary, the presence of two such intimate options indicated that not only did Lily have significant feelings for Leo, but it also reflected her deep inner desire for care and encouragement. Otherwise, this sweet, naive girl wouldn't have felt the subconscious need to show off something as simple as buckling a seatbelt, hoping to earn his praise. Yeah, very impressive," Leo said. The other two options were too intimate, so he reached out and gently ruffled Lily's hair a couple of times. This gesture, like praising a child, made Lily a little embarrassed, but she was happy inside. Craving affection, she even subtly rubbed her head against his large hand. "You have a phone, right?" Leo took out his own. "Let's exchange numbers. I'll come pick you up tonight." "I do," Lily said, flattered. She took out her phone. It was an off-brand smartphone with a few cracks in the screen, probably worth only a couple $100, maybe even secondhand. Leo added her as a contact. Her username was Lasting Peace, and her profile picture was a golden sunflower. "You're not an old man. Can't you pick a cuter username and profile picture?" Leo thought, shaking his head with a smile. The simple, unadorned style perfectly matched her personality. "All right, go see your grandma. I have to get going too. I'll come get you when I'm done, so don't be silly and walk back." "Okay." Lily unbuckled her seatbelt and stood outside the car, holding the still warm thermos. Standing under the hot sun, she gave Leo a sincere bow. "Thank you so much. Go on, and don't do that next time." "It's too much," Leo said, unable to stand a woman being so humble in front of him. It reminded him too much of his past self, socially anxious and introverted. He quickly drove away from the hospital. He drove to the Sovereign Hotel downtown. Following Isabel's instructions, Leo took the opulent elevator to the 22nd floor and went straight to room 302, where he rang the doorbell. The door was opened by a tall, slender young man in a suit who looked quite young, 20-something at most. "This is room 302, right?" Leo thought he'd gone to the wrong place. He stepped back to check the number on the door. It was indeed 302. "Leo, that's you. Come in quick," a cheerful female voice called from inside. Isabel came trotting out in high heels, immediately grabbing Leo's arm and complaining like a pampered wife. "What took you so long? It's almost 3. Sorry, traffic was a nightmare." "All right, come with me. I want you to meet some of my friends." Leo followed Isabel into the room. The first thing he saw was a bridge table and 3 rather wealthy-looking women. "Wow, Isabel, this one's not bad. Yeah, look at those arms, those thighs. TSK. No wonder you've been glowing these days, Isabel. You've gone and found yourself a boy toy." The moment the 3 women saw Leo, their eyes lit up with a predatory gleam. These were rich, powerful women who were more than experienced with men. They could tell a man's prowess with a single glance. His handsome face, his tall, strong build. He was miles better than the pretty boys and personal trainers they usually entertained. They shamelessly sized him up from head to toe, their eyes lingering on his lower half, making their hearts itch like a cat was scratching them. "This is Linda, this is Trish, and this is Felicia." When introducing Felicia, Isabel leaned in and whispered in Leo's ear, "Felicia is a big deal in Portland. Half the entertainment venues around here belong to her. It's good to get to know them." "I see. Leo, is it? Do you know how to play bridge?" Felicia shot him a subtle, seductive glance, her eyes darting to where Isabel was standing. If you do, come play a few rounds with us. In the past, Leo would have been too intimidated to even speak in front of such powerful people. Now, while he still felt a flicker of nervousness, he understood that what these rich, powerful women despised most were meek, submissive men. If he showed any weakness now, they would never see him as a man again. Sure, I'd be happy to play a few rounds with you ladies, Leo said with a bright smile, confidently taking Isabel's seat. Isabel, also smiling, sat down next to him. The three women exchanged glances, their interest in Leo piqued. The men they usually met were all pathetically subservient. They much preferred a man who was confident and at ease. As they were shuffling the cards, Leo noticed the women weren't really shuffling. They were rubbing their hands all over his. Trish, who was sitting next to him, was particularly blatant about it, her rings digging uncomfortably into his fingers. Isabel, maybe you should explain our relationship to your friends? Leo stopped shuffling and said to Isabel, his tone polite but firm. Oh, ladies, Leo isn't what you think, Isabel said, first startled, then quickly explaining, he's my godbrother. He's not here to entertain us. Oh, is that so? Trish awkwardly pulled her foot back from where it had been creeping towards him and apologized. I'm so sorry, Leo. I thought you were a male model. Ha, Trish, you really have no tact, Felicia laughed from the side. Isabel doesn't play around like we do, as if she'd share her toys. Hey, I was just captivated by the boy. Trish's mood shifted quickly. Not wanting to damage her friendship with Isabel, she instructed the young man who had opened the door to get a bank card from her purse. Don't be upset, Leo. It was all a misunderstanding. Trish handed the card to Leo with a knowing smile. There's $40,000 on this. Take it, have some fun. Consider it my apology. 1. Casually take the bank card and warn Trish that you're letting it slide this time for Isabel's sake, but it can't happen again. 2. Apologetically explain. I'm so sorry, Trish. I should have explained the misunderstanding sooner instead of making things so awkward for everyone. My apologies. 3. Fawningly request. Make it 80,000, Trish, and I'm yours tonight. If you make it 120, you can bring as many friends as you want. It's okay, it's okay. Since it was a misunderstanding, Leo smiled and waved his hand, refusing the card Trish was offering. I'm so sorry, Trish. I should have explained the misunderstanding sooner instead of making things so awkward for everyone. My apologies. His words not only apologized to Trish, but also smoothly took all the blame for the misunderstanding onto himself. The wealthy women looked at Leo with slight surprise, impressed that a guy who looked barely out of his teens could be so tactful. It's fine. I'm not mad at you. Take the card. Isabel's brother is my brother. It's a welcome gift from me. Trish, now completely charmed, insisted, placing the card in front of Leo. If you want anything in the future, just let me know. I don't have much, but I do have a lot of money. I couldn't, Leo said, still hesitant. Who gives a $40,000 bank card as a welcome gift? I said take it. If you don't, I'll be angry. Trish forcefully stuffed the card into his pants pocket, pouting at him with mock grievance. Isabel patted Leo's thigh and gave him a slight nod. Take it. It's just a little something from Trish. All right, Leo said cheerfully. In that case, I'll do my best to deal you some good hands, Trish. In front of these women, you could never let your guard down. You had to drive the conversation, keep the atmosphere lively, and at the same time, maintain an air of dignity and sincere honesty. That's what they liked. Some guys, when they met women like this, couldn't hold back. The woman would tease them a little, and they'd fall all over themselves trying to lick her boots. That was a sign of impatience. A powerful woman would never like a man who was so obviously after her money. Hey, that's a bit much. Yeah, you can't just openly cheat like that. Linda and Felicia chimed in, laughing. The card game was just for fun. Winning or losing didn't matter. What they really enjoyed was the lively atmosphere. It's fine, Leo. After the misunderstanding, Trish had stolen the spotlight and was now basking in it. Don't listen to them. Deal to me all you want. I got your back. Isabel, the way Trish is calling him Leo this, and Leo that, she sounds closer to him than you do, Felicia teased. Aren't you afraid she's going to steal your brother away? Isabel proudly hugged Leo's arm, a satisfied smile on her face. If she can steal him, that's her skill. What can I do about it? Isabel knew that she and Leo could never get married or have a real future. But he was still a man she cared for, and she naturally hoped he would get along with her friends. When Leo had first arrived, Isabel had been worried he would be too intimidated. She was incredibly pleased to see that, with just a few words, he was already hitting it off with her prideful, arrogant friends. The game began in earnest. With the system's help, Leo showered the women with compliments. Trish, your skin is so amazing, so radiant. You look like a college student. Linda, you have such a great natural foundation. If you lost a little weight, you'd be a knockout. Felicia, you don't even need to wear so much makeup. You're naturally beautiful. Confidence is your best look. Ding. Isabel Vance's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 95. Keep up the good work. Ding. Felicia's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 20. Keep up the good work. Ding. Trisha's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 30. Keep up the good work. Ding. Linda's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 25. Keep up the good work. With the system's guidance, these usually high and mighty women were grinning from ear to ear, their affinity scores climbing steadily. It wasn't that they hadn't been complimented by men before. On the contrary, men were constantly falling over themselves to praise them. But unlike those fawning men, Leo was young and spoke with sincerity. Most importantly, he had self-respect and integrity. His compliments didn't have the desperate, ass-kissing tone of a simp. Naturally, the women loved hearing sweet nothings from a man like him, and they were all eager to claim him as their own godbrother. Leo didn't object. These women were rich and powerful in Portland. Knowing them was definitely more of a benefit than a liability. Oh, Isabel, your godbrother is just adorable. Why didn't you introduce us sooner? Trish complained enviously. If I'd introduced you sooner, you probably would have eaten him alive, bones and all, Isabel retorted. It's okay. If it were you ladies, I'd be willing. Leo added with a grin. Ha ha. The women roared with laughter. Isabel swatted him playfully, and the atmosphere became even more convivial. Around 6 o'clock, Isabel picked up her Chanel bag and linked her arm through Leo's. All right, I have to go pick up Maddie. We'll have to do this again sometime. Don't go, Isabel. Let's play a few more rounds. Yeah, Maddie's got someone to look after her. Let Leo play with us a little longer. The women were reluctant to let their new favorite brother leave so soon. Another day, another day. The way her friends were looking at Leo was practically lustful. Isabel didn't dare let him stay any longer. She was worried that if they kept playing, he really would be eaten alive by this pack. Well, ladies, it was a pleasure. Let's talk again soon, Leo said with a smile, bidding them farewell as he and Isabel walked towards the door, chatting and laughing. Isabel, are we really going to get Maddie? Didn't you text me that she's sleeping over at Ms. Lee's tonight? Oh, you're so annoying, asking things you already know. So, are we going to a hotel or your place? Hey, keep your voice down. A hotel. The three women watched their flirty backs disappear and sighed. They couldn't help but think how lucky their friend was to have hooked such a funny, charming young man. In Portland's Pioneer Square, Leo and Isabel walked leisurely through the crowded streets. Dressed for the summer heat, Isabel wore a light blue sundress, her graceful figure drawing many glances as she strolled beside the noticeably younger man. Why do these people keep staring at me? Isabel couldn't stand the blatant stares from passersby. The way they looked at her felt mocking, as if she were some cougar preying on a younger man. They're not looking at you. They're looking at me. Leo immediately guessed her thoughts and teased. They probably think you're my girlfriend and are sick with envy. It's your fault for being so beautiful, Isabel. Youth is wasted on the young. If Isabel had been any of the other women from the hotel, anyone would have thought she was a cougar. But the older Isabel didn't look old. Her every expression held a certain mature, wifely charm. A ripe, experienced woman like her, once she fell in love, exuded a unique allure that men found intoxicating. Together, they might be mistaken for a couple with an age gap, but it was nowhere near cougar territory. Humph, all you know is sweet talk, Isabel huffed, but her joy was written all over her face. She felt her resistance to him crumbling. In the past, she would have scoffed at such cheesy lines, but now, she loved hearing them from Leo. It was only around 6 o'clock, too early to head straight to a hotel. Isabel took Leo to a high-end men's clothing store in the downtown shopping district and generously bought him several outfits and pairs of shoes. The store was a designer brand, and the few outfits and 2 pairs of shoes cost over $40,000. The salesperson was smiling so hard her face might crack, praising Leo to the heavens. Isabel, are you seriously trying to become my sugar mama? Leo asked with a wry smile, one arm around her slim waist, the other laden with shopping bags. That salesperson definitely thinks you are. What? You don't want me to be? Isabel looked at him smugly. It's better than my friends, right? I hear they can be pretty rough on their toys. Whoa, for real. A chill went down Leo's spine. Isabel, don't scare me. Ah, look at you. Of course not. Isabel giggled, covering her mouth. After a moment, she whispered, "But they do play rough. You probably got that from what happened with Trish this afternoon. So don't you go getting any ideas about them, you hear?" "Hey, I'm not blind," Leo said proudly. "If I'm going to be kept, I'm definitely going to choose a beautiful sugar mama. Even if you were tough on me, at least the view would be good." "Haha, you have no shame." Isabel laughed, then looked at him with a dependent gaze. "Leo, when I'm with you, I'm so happy. I feel years younger." "Really?" Leo leaned in and gave her a light kiss. "Yes, I'm stuck on you for life now. You can't let me down." Isabel nodded deeply, clinging to him like an affectionate girlfriend, her full body pressed against his. "Leo, I'm a little tired," Isabel murmured, her eyes shy. "Let's find a place to rest." "All right, let's find a place to rest." Seeing her sultry, inviting look, Leo could no longer hold back. He took her soft hand and eagerly led her towards the elevator. "Hey, slow down. Look at you, so impatient." Tonight was destined to be an intense battle. Leo sent a quick text to Lily, telling her he couldn't pick her up. Downtown was full of hotels. Leo found a relatively upscale one and practically dragged Isabel towards their room. Once inside, Leo dropped the shopping bags by the door. He swept Isabel into his arms, kissing her passionately as he carried her towards the soft, king-sized bed, where he gently tossed her down. Under Leo's fierce, passionate kisses, Isabel's beautiful face flushed a captivating crimson. Her emotional eyes were filled with an endless spring tide, so delicate a single breath could create ripples. "Isabel," Leo whispered, looking down at her, her breath coming in warm puffs. "Have you missed me these past few days?" "Oomph. No," Isabel said, shyly turning her head away, a picture of willing surrender. A light rain began to fall late at night, the tiny droplets tapping almost silently against the hotel window. By morning, the sun grew stronger and the slightly chilly summer rain gradually subsided. Sunlight pierced through the clouds, warm and bright, as the cicadas began their frenzied buzzing, heralding another scorching day. On a messy, king-sized bed, Isabel's soft body was pressed against Leo's. Her thick, dark hair was spread out around her slightly flushed cheeks. A weak murmur escaped Isabel's lips. Her graceful body shifted unconsciously in her sleep, a satisfied smile gracing her lips the entire time. When Leo woke up, he held Isabel's jade-like body, feeling invigorated as he leaned against the headboard, lost in thought. Last night, Isabel's affinity for him had finally broken 100 points. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity for host has increased by 5 points. Current affinity, 100. Congratulations to the host for successfully raising Isabel Vance's affinity to 100. Ding! Isabel Vance's affinity has reached 100. You have received a mysterious treasure chest. Open now. Not yet. I'll do it when I get back. With his landlady lying right next to him, Leo didn't want to cause a commotion. If he opened a physical item, it would be hard to explain. He scrolled through TikTok for a while. Isabel eventually woke up from the warm cocoon of the blankets, her lazy, dependent eyes gazing quietly at this mischievous young man. "Hungry?" Leo asked with a smile, stroking her smooth back. "Wanted to go get you something to eat." Isabel shook her head gently, her expression a mix of admiration and curiosity. "How long have you been awake? Aren't you tired?" "A little," Leo admitted, snuggling back under the covers and pulling her warm body closer. "But you're my sugar mama now, right? I have to be diligent, don't I?" "You smooth talker." Isabel rolled her eyes flirtatiously, but she still nestled contentedly into his embrace. After checking out of the hotel, Leo supported a slightly unsteady Isabel as they walked to the underground parking garage. Yawned the moment she got in the car. Isabel let out a weary yawn. "I need a nap when I get home." "He wanted to join you, Isabel?" Leo asked with a playful grin, his hands on the steering wheel. "Just drive," Isabel retorted, though without any real heat. She was now both in love with and terrified of this young man. Isabel's thinking was more traditional. She used to never understand why her friends liked to find these young boy toys. Whenever she saw them flirting with their young men, she would cringe. She felt that these guys in their early 20s, fresh out in the world, were immature and not very bright. Weren't her friends embarrassed? The age gap was so large they could be their sons. How could they do it? But after spending this time with Leo, Isabel finally understood the appeal. They drove back to the apartment complex, and Leo helped Isabel into the elevator. As they reached her front door, Leo saw Lily standing there blankly, holding $300 in her hand. "Isabel," Lily said, taking a few small steps toward them. Seeing her landlady's strained expression, she asked with concern, What's wrong with you? Isabel had cut Lily's rent in half and bought her many daily necessities. Lily was very grateful to her kind landlady. Oh, it's nothing. I just twisted my ankle. I ran into Leo on the way, and he helped me, Isabel said with a casual smile. What did you need? It's the beginning of the month. I want to give you the rent, Lily said, holding out 3 crumpled bills to Isabel. She then added with some difficulty, Isabel, for the utilities, can I pay you in a few days? I'll have it soon, I promise. I've been working at a restaurant, and I'm about to get paid. Isabel looked at the wrinkled bills in Lily's hand, her heart aching for the unfortunate girl. But she knew that waiving her rent completely would hurt her pride. Isabel's gaze shifted between the humble Lily and Leo. An idea seemed to strike her. That's not necessary, she said cheerfully. Leo already paid it for you last night. Right, I took care of it for you last night, Leo chimed in, picking up on Isabel's intention to help. You should keep that money and buy something nice for your grandma. No, I can't do that. Lily shook her head vehemently, stubbornly holding the $300 out to Leo. I'll give you the rent now, and I'll pay you back for the utilities as soon as I get my paycheck. Oh, you silly girl. Your grandma is sick, and hospital bills are expensive. You should just keep the money for now. But, Lily hesitated, looking down at the crumpled bills. If you insist, then just keep a running tab, Isabel said gently, seeing she couldn't win against the girl's stubbornness. When you graduate and get a job, you can pay him back then. It's not too late. Okay, Lily finally nodded firmly. She looked at Leo with immense gratitude. Thank you, Leo. When I start working, I promise I will pay you back. All right, well, it's about lunchtime anyway, Isabel said, taking out her keys. Maddie's not home, and the house feels so empty. Why don't you two stay for lunch? Oh no, I wouldn't want to trouble you, Lily said, taking a step back, overwhelmed. It's no trouble, Isabel insisted, taking Lily's small hand and half pulling her inside. Make yourself a home, dear. There's fruit in the fridge. Help yourself. Leo, come help me in the kitchen. Sure. Leo rolled up his sleeves and headed for the kitchen. Leo, Isabel began in a low voice once they were in the kitchen, glancing at Lily, who was sitting stiffly on the sofa. What do you think of that girl? She's very pretty, has a great figure, and a gentle personality. Huh? Isabel, what are you getting at? Leo looked at her, confused. Her words sounded like she was trying to set him up. What do you think about pursuing her? Isabel asked, dropping a bombshell. The girl's had a tough life, and she's very simple and honest. If you put in the effort, you could definitely win her over. Isabel knew she and Leo had no future together, let alone marriage and children. She was worried that if Leo found a sharp, clever girlfriend, their own affair would be over. Since that was the likely outcome anyway, Isabel hoped Leo would go after a simple, naive girl like Lily, someone who wouldn't suspect a thing. Leo was in the middle of chopping vegetables when Isabel's words nearly made him slice his own finger. Isabel, you gotta be kidding me, right? Isabel shook her head, her expression serious. Not all. I mean it. Don't you think she's beautiful? But Leo just shook his head, rejecting the idea. Her personality is too withdrawn. We wouldn't be a good match. How do you know if you don't try? Are you worried that her grandmother's hospital bills will be too expensive? That you'd be under financial pressure if you two got together? Isabel said briskly. Don't worry about money. Anything financial, I can take care of it for you. Isabel, how are you so different from those rich women you see exposed online? If they found out their man was using their money to support a mistress, they would have kicked him to the curb in a heartbeat. Leo laughed, exasperated. But you're offering me money to go find a girlfriend. If your friends found out about this, they'd never let you live it down. You think I wanna? It's just that I'm afraid you'll. Isabel trailed off, too embarrassed to finish. She gave Leo's arm a frustrated pat. Fine, if you don't want to, we'll pretend I never said anything. But that girl really has it tough. She's got so much pride, and she's incredibly stubborn. Since you live across the hall, you should still help her out when you can. I know. After dinner at Isabel's, Leo went back to his apartment and immediately called up the system, ready to open the mysterious treasure chest he'd gotten from his landlady. Over the past few weeks, he'd racked up nearly $250,000 in rewards from the system. And on top of that, he'd mysteriously received tens of thousands more from Isabel and her circle of wealthy friends. Having that much cash sitting around made Leo feel a strange sense of panic. He didn't understand how the protagonists in those power fantasy stories could accept having billions in their bank accounts without even holding a steady job. Weren't they worried someone would investigate their source of income? Forget millions. If Leo's parents saw more than $10,000 in his account, they would absolutely show up demanding to know, down to the last detail, where the money came from. This was the main reason he hadn't told his parents he'd bought a car. They would definitely come and interrogate him. Of course, some protagonists in those stories claim they made it all in the stock market, but if Leo tried that line, his parents would demand he show them, right then and there, how he did it. Right now, Leo was just hoping the system would grant him a legitimate skill, something that would let him earn the money for real. Once he had his first big score, he'd have a solid defense, even if his parents spotted some holes in his story. System, open the mysterious treasure chest. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have acquired Apex authorial talent. Your creative inspiration will be elevated to an unprecedented level, achieving a true state of effortless narrative flow. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have acquired Apex typing velocity. Your manual dexterity is now enhanced, allowing for unparalleled typing speed. Huh, could this be any more on the nose? Leo shook his head, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. So he couldn't escape the fate of a struggling writer after all. 2 abilities in a row, both related to writing. Then again, I guess it works, Leo mused. It was how he made a living, after all. If he got rich from writing novels, it wouldn't raise too many red flags. In that instant, Leo felt countless ideas and writing techniques flood his mind. The state of effortless narrative flow was no longer a metaphor. All right, let's keep being a struggling author then. Leo opened his author portal and glanced at his previously completed progression fantasy novel. It suddenly looked embarrassingly bad, like a middle schooler's diary. Empowered by 2 max-level writing talents, Leo eagerly navigated to his author dashboard, clicked Create New Book, and set the genre, Progression Fantasy. With his new abilities, Leo's typing speed was astonishing. His fingers were a blur over the keyboard, the crisp clatter of the keys never ceasing. Before, he might have sat in front of the computer for hours just to squeeze out a single chapter, constantly deleting and rewriting. But now, after just 1 hour, Leo stared at the word count in his document, dumbfounded. In a single hour, he had written nearly 20,000 words. And thanks to his Apex talent, every one of those 20,000 words, from the plot to the character development, was virtually perfect. He checked the time. It was just past 1 in the afternoon. Leo sat up straight and continued his high-intensity writing session. It wasn't until after 9 that night, his fingers finally starting to ache, that a 200,000-word progression fantasy novel was complete. Leo read it from start to finish, completely captivated by the story he had written in a matter of hours. The plot, the narrative arc, it was all on par with the work of a master storyteller. After uploading the entire text, he spent another $10,000 to boost his novel onto the patronage leaderboard, hoping to attract more readers quickly. I wonder what the numbers will look like tomorrow, Leo murmured, looking at the novel with its 0 followers in his author portal, his heart filled with anticipation. The next morning, the moment Leo's eyes opened, he eagerly pulled up his author portal to check the performance of the novel he'd published yesterday. When the dashboard loaded, Leo froze for a second, then a grin spread across his face, growing into a manic smile. Comments: 32,000 plus followers, 52,000 plus reading revenue, $42, 562 gift revenue, $27, 524 daily earnings, $70,086. Excluding the $10,000 he'd spent on promotion, the novel had earned over $60,000 in a single day. More importantly, it was only 200,000 words long, and the plot was just getting started. It couldn't compare to the masterpieces on the charts that pulled in 6 figures a day, but once his novel gained more length, the revenue would surely multiply several times over. The publishing rights alone could probably sell for hundreds of thousands. It's a hit. It's a hit. Leo, ecstatic, opened the comment section. It was flooded with readers begging for more chapters and a sea of 5-star reviews. Follow the patron pop-up here. Thought it'd be trash, but this is a masterpiece. More, please. Best progression fantasy I've read in 2024, bar none. Holy crap. The character dynamics are amazing. I thought this was written by one of the big names, but it's you magnificent bastard. Dude, 200k words in 1 day? How long was this in your backlog? Now I'm not so worried about the old folks running an audit. Leo smugly closed the comments and got back to writing. Before, when he wrote, he'd be short on inspiration and his typing speed was slow. He could write from morning till night and barely crank out a few thousand words. But with 2 max-level talents, he could now write at least 100,000 words a day. And thanks to the system, he didn't have to worry about the side effects of sitting for so long. He was a human word-churning machine. In just 1 week, Leo's progression fantasy novel reached 1 million words. With its absurd performance and god-tier update speed, it dominated every chart on the platform. Even TikTok was filled with highlight reels and promo videos for it. Leo's novel had officially blown up in the web fiction world. On Sunday afternoon, just as he finished writing his buffer chapters for the day, he got a text from his mom, Sharon. "Are you trying to start a revolution, young man? It's bad enough you haven't been home in 2 months, but you don't even send us a text for the holiday. What? Are you declaring independence? Offline mode. Be home this afternoon. Also, Mom, I made a ton of money." Smug emoji. Sharon, what? Did you rob a bank? Leo's mouth twitched. He screenshotted his earnings for the month and sent it to her. The next second, a call from his mom popped up, her voice already cracking with tears. "Son, have you been getting involved in something illegal?" No, relax. Show that screenshot to Riley. She'll know what it is. It's the money I earned from writing my novel. He heard some commotion on the other end, and then his sister Riley's shocked voice came through. Holy crap, old man, over $1 million? What the hell did you write? Leo had told them he was quitting writing, so Riley hadn't been paying attention to the platform. She had no idea about the sensational new novel that had been taking it by storm. "I'm driving back in a bit. Gotta go." "Driving? Holy crap, dude, you." As Riley's astonished voice trailed off, Leo, in high spirits, grabbed his car keys and headed for the underground garage. Leo drove the Mercedes off the highway and into a high-end residential complex, pulling smoothly into his family's parking spot. Leo's family was well off. His mom, Sharon, worked at a state-owned enterprise, and his dad, David, was a project manager at a construction company. While they weren't lavishly wealthy, Leo and his sisters had never really wanted for anything growing up. Humming a cheerful tune, Leo entered Building 3, went up to the 5th floor, and rang the bell for apartment 302. Click! The security door opened quickly. A middle-aged woman in her 40s looked him over, a little surprised, almost not recognizing him. But what mother wouldn't recognize the child she raised? Sharon smiled and teased. "You know, they're right. Money really does make a man." At first, Sharon hadn't believed her introverted son could make so much money on the internet. It took Riley explaining it to her at length before Sharon was finally convinced that her once unremarkable son had finally made something of himself. Over $1 million in less than a month. Sharon and Leo's father, David, didn't even make $1 million a year combined. "You're back." His dad, David, emerged from the kitchen wearing an apron and holding a spatula. He looked Leo up and down. Seeing his once lethargic son, now full of vigor, David nodded in satisfaction. "Good. Go wash your hands. Dinner's almost ready." "Okay." Leo nodded. He hadn't seen his old man in a few months, but he was still looking sharp. "Dude, what kind of car did you buy?" "Bro, I saw a few outfits I really want." Leo had barely taken off his shoes when his 2 sisters came running over, chattering excitedly. Riley, the older one, immediately started digging in his pockets for the car keys. "Wow, Mom, look, it's a Mercedes key." Riley held up the silver key, overjoyed. "Dude, I want one too. Give me one." "All you do is ask for things. How about I give you a couple slaps instead and see if you still want one?" Leo said, snatching the key back annoyed. "You don't even have a driver's license. What the hell do you need a car for?" Riley was used to Leo's gamer age banter. She just clung to his arm, whining, I don't care, I just want one. Come on, dude, buy me one." "Bro, I don't want a car. Just clear out my shopping cart for me. Please, my dearest brother." Sophie purred. The 2 sisters clung to Leo, laying it on thick, praying that their newly rich brother would drop some serious cash. A monthly income in the 7 figures? None of their classmates' parents made that kind of insane money. All right, that's enough. You're going to make my ears bleed," Sharon said, watching the siblings with an amused sigh. "Leo, I'm not going to manage your money from now on. You save it yourself. If your dad and I need anything, we'll ask you. Also, you're covering your sister's living expenses from now on." "What the hell, why?" Leo grumbled, pushing his annoying sisters away. "I just started making money, and you 2 are already trying to pass the buck." "Haha. Well, you're their big brother, aren't you?" Sharon said smugly. "Okay, go wash your hands and get ready to eat. You 2, stop bothering your brother and help set the table." "You know your father, and I don't need you to earn that much money," Sharon said, her tone softening after she sent the girls away. Leo had just sat down on the couch when she sat next to him, starting her familiar lecture. "We just hope you can find a girlfriend soon. The holidays are coming up. Are you really going to go see your grandmother single again? What about that girl from last time? I thought she was very nice. Why didn't it work out? Maybe I should talk to her mom. Have you 2 meet up again alone?" Just as Leo was about to say something, his phone buzzed with a text. "Elf Princess, Leo the pig, I don't have to go to my parents' place today. I'm coming over to your house to hang out. Hey, let's talk later. Something came up. You guys go ahead and eat." Leo couldn't stand another second of his mom's nagging. He quickly got up and retreated to his room. He'd been away for a few months, but his room was still relatively tidy. The bedding and pillows were clean. Leo flopped onto his bed and started texting Chloe. I'm at my parents' place. You want to come over? Say hi to them while you're at it. Doge emoji. PSU wasn't far from his parents' complex, only a few miles. A 10-minute Uber ride for Chloe, tops. Leo figured it would be good for his parents to meet her. Maybe then they'd stop pressuring him to find someone. Elf princess, huh? Isn't that a little fast? I haven't prepared at all. Prepare for what? You're just meeting them. Plus, there's a nice park near here. I can take you there tonight. Leo finished typing, then had another idea. Oh, right, your roommates should all be back on campus this afternoon, right? You can invite them over too. I'll call my buddies and we can all grab dinner tonight, get to know each other. Leo's family had lived here for years, and it was a Sunday. His closest friends didn't live far. It was the perfect opportunity for a get-together. His friends are all single, too. Maybe if they all had dinner, a few sparks might fly. Okay, sure. Should I bring anything for your parents when I come over? Chloe was clearly treating this as a formal meet-the-parents event and didn't want to show up empty-handed. I told you don't need to. Just show up. We'll eat and then head out. No way. It's rude to come empty-handed. I'm going to look on TikTok for ideas on what to get them. Fine. Call me when you get here. Exiting his chat with Chloe, Leo opened up his group chat, Brothers in Arms, Deserters in Trouble. Offline mode. At everyone's sons, your beloved father has returned. I'm treating you all to dinner tonight. Holy crap. You son of a bitch finally decided to come back. Got a girlfriend and forgot all about your dads, huh? Damn it. Can I not go tonight? I feel like I'm just going to be force-fed your PDA. At offline mode, where's the picture of the girlfriend? You're not going to post it in the chat for your dads to see. Offline mode. You'll see when you get here. Gotta go, dad's gotta eat. After chatting with his slacker friends for a bit, Leo suddenly noticed a faint, fresh scent on his bed. He didn't think much of it. His mom was a neat freak. She probably used some air freshener when she was cleaning his room. What are you doing? As soon as he opened his bedroom door, he ran right into Riley. What do you mean? What am I doing? I'm calling you to dinner, Riley scoffed, her gaze darting imperceptibly toward his bed. Mom, we might need an extra set of plates later, Leo said nonchalantly, walking past Riley to where Sharon was carrying dishes to the table. A friend of mine is coming over. Is it Finn? Sharon asked casually, not forgetting to add a complaint. That kid really knows how to time things, showing up right when dinner's ready. Sharon knew Leo's friends. They all lived in the neighboring complexes, and their parents knew each other to some extent. Huh, you'll see when they get here, Leo said cryptically. He stretched languidly and plopped onto the sofa without a care in the world. He didn't notice, did he? Riley glanced at Leo on the sofa, then silently got up and slipped into his room. He didn't even say he was coming back. I almost forgot. Her heart pounding, Riley pulled her pajamas out from under his pillow and scurried back to her room to put them away. My dearest brother. Leo hadn't been lounging on the sofa for long when Sophie, an ear-cleaning tool in hand, sat down beside him with a concerned look, patting the part of her skirt covering her lap. Come on, let your little sister clean your ears. Leo knew exactly what this little schemer was up to. He lay his head on Sophie's soft lap without a second thought. Cut the act. You think I don't know you? Hand over your phone. Sophie pouted, feigning hurt. What? Is that all you think of me? Fine. I'm heading back tomorrow anyway. Leo pretended to get up. If you don't want it, don't come crying to me tomorrow. I want it. Sophie quickly grabbed Leo's head and pressed it back onto her slender legs. She then opened the Amazon app on her phone, pulled up her overflowing cart, and handed the phone to Leo with a grin, her voice dripping with syrupy sweetness. Hee hee, you're the best brother ever. Leo was taken aback. Holy crap, $1,200? Are you getting married, Sophie? Ah, bro, you're not a girl. You don't know how much stuff we need. Sophie whined, shaking his hand coquettishly. Please, brother, buy for me? At this rate, you're going to drain me dry. Leo rolled his eyes at her, but cleared her cart anyway. What could he do? She was his sister. Yay, you're the best, bro. Sophie snatched her phone back into light, poked around his ear a few times absent-mindedly, then unceremoniously pushed his head off her lap. Leo cursed, annoyed. Seriously? That was fast. Oh, bro, I just got my nails done with my roommate yesterday. I can't make any big movements. I'll clean them for you next time you're back, Sophie said with a grin, already eagerly sharing her new purchases with her friends. If I ever trust you again, I'm an idiot. Leo grumbled as he got up to eat. Want me to do it after dinner? Riley glanced at a sulking Leo and said casually, just remember to clear my cart too. Forget it. Last time you almost punctured my eardrum, Leo retorted. Just send me the link later. When it came to his two sisters, Leo never played favorites. Since he'd cleared Sophie's cart, there was no way he'd leave Riley out. TCH. Riley, instead of being happy, just scoffed at him. So you think you're hot stuff now that you have money? Yeah, sorry, but yeah, having money is pretty great. Leo gave a cheeky shrug. Riley, furious, swung a leg out to kick him, but he dodged it. He missed me. Honestly, how old are you all? Sharon looked at her bickering children, exasperated. Hurry up and wash your hands for dinner. Ding dong. The family had just sat down at the table when the doorbell rang. Hello, sir. My name is Chloe Miller. I'm here to take Leo out. In front of apartment 302, Chloe stood with bags in both hands, repeating the opening line she'd copied from a TikTok about meeting a boyfriend's parents. She was visibly nervous. Click. The door opened. Sharon looked at the delicate, slender girl at the door and asked curiously, Miss, who are you looking for? This must be Leo's mom. Chloe's mind went completely blank. The line she had rehearsed moments ago vanished. Her smile was a strained mess as she stammered. Hello, ma'am. My name is Chloe Miller. I'm here to take your husband out. Huh. Sharon stared at the lovely girl in disbelief, looking her up and down. Honey, are you sure you have a right place? Hey, first time in my house, and you're already trying to break up my parents? Leo walked over, unable to stifle a laugh at Chloe's mortified expression. This is the friend you were talking about. It took Sharon a moment, but then it clicked. Her eyes fixed on Chloe's exquisite face, as if she'd just been handed a divine treasure. Oh my goodness, dear, come in, come in. Beaming, Sharon hurried to the shoe cabinet, pulled out a pair of slippers, and bent down to place them at Chloe's feet. These will be fine. Thank you, ma'am. You don't have to trouble yourself. Chloe, flattered, quickly changed into the clean slippers and nervously followed Leo inside. What's all the commotion? The three at the dining table heard the clear, girlish voice from the doorway and immediately put down their utensils, craning their necks to see. When they saw that the owner of the voice was such a beautiful girl, the two sisters instantly tensed up. Riley, in particular, looked completely dumbfounded. She couldn't believe that her withdrawn, lethargic brother actually had such a gorgeous female friend. And for this girl to show up at their door alone, it meant their relationship was definitely not ordinary. Could she be his girlfriend? Riley swallowed hard, a sense of foreboding washing over her. Honey, come sit down. We were just about to start, David said warmly. Seeing Chloe's shy and flustered state, he immediately realized this girl was more than just a friend to his son. While the two sisters remained silent, still staring intently at Chloe, their parents were a different story. They were so welcoming they might as well have gone downstairs to set off fireworks. Only Leo remained unfazed. He took the bags from Chloe's hands and, seeing a set of cosmetics and a few cartons of brand-name cigarettes, feigned disappointment. Seriously? You only bought gifts for my parents? Nothing for me. Sharon playfully slapped Leo's arm, then turned back to Chloe with a radiant smile. Oh dear, you shouldn't have bought so many things. Really, you mustn't do this next time. It's no problem, ma'am. On her first visit to her boyfriend's parents, Chloe was so nervous her toes were curling inside her slippers. She hadn't expected Leo to have two sisters around her age and for them to be so beautiful. That girl. I feel like I've seen her somewhere before, Sophie whispered to Riley. Where? Riley was now desperate to know everything about this girl. The two sisters huddled together, plotting. I remember now. Sophie's eyes lit up. Isn't she that girl from the freshman orientation videos on TikTok a while back? Holy crap. Now that you mention it, I think you're right. Riley exclaimed, feeling like she was facing a formidable enemy. A while back, a video of Chloe singing during freshman orientation had gone viral on TikTok. Though the hype had died down, many college guys still considered the sweet-faced girl the unattainable campus goddess. Chloe was so pretty and recognizable that the sisters couldn't be mistaken. How do you think he managed to land her? Riley muttered, frowning. Could it be the money? Probably, Sophie agreed. Leo had only been living on his own for a few months. Even if his looks and demeanor had improved, how could he possibly have won over a PSU campus goddess in such a short time? Just a few months ago, Leo was a socially awkward homebody who could barely speak to girls. Given that Leo had recently made a lot of money and had no experience with women or dating, the sisters came to a consensus. Chloe was after his money. Besides, in this day and age, campus goddess wasn't always a compliment. Riley had scrolled past more than a few scandalous videos about them during her late-night web browsing. Hey, what are you two doing just standing there? Sharon chided. Aren't you going to say hello? Hello to what? Nothing's even official yet. Riley mumbled under her breath. Hey, you little brat. It's okay, ma'am, Chloe said, waving her hands dismissively. She was still incredibly nervous, afraid she'd cause a scene. Miss, do you go to PSU? Sophie asked politely, a wide smile on her face. Are you the one who sang 1,000 Years during orientation on TikTok? What orientation? Sharon asked curiously. Mom, she sang during orientation, and someone posted the video on TikTok. It got super popular. She's the campus goddess at PSU now. Oh, is that right? Sharon was even more thrilled. She couldn't believe her son, after being single for so long, had managed to land a campus goddess for a girlfriend. Huh, was I really that popular? Even you guys know about it. Chloe scratched her head, embarrassed. Probably paid to boost the post herself, Riley muttered sarcastically. David quickly brought over a new set of utensils. Dear, come sit and eat. Thank you, sir. Chloe sat down next to Leo, her head bowed. She fidgeted with her fingers, feeling like a criminal awaiting sentencing. Relax, my parents don't bite, Leo said, placing a piece of meat in her bowl. Just act like you're at home. That's right, dear. Make yourself at home. Don't be nervous, Sharon said, sitting next to Chloe. She gazed at the girl's beautiful face and slim figure, practically giddy with excitement. She wished she could march her son down to the courthouse to get married right after dinner. Being her first time meeting a boyfriend's parents was nerve-wracking enough, but the over-the-top enthusiasm from Leo's parents made it even more intense. Throughout the entire meal, Chloe barely dared to speak. She answered whatever Sharon asked, as shy and flustered as a bride-to-be. After a brief chat with his parents, Chloe followed Leo into his room. She just couldn't handle Sharon's fiery hospitality anymore. Leo, I'm so nervous, Chloe said, grabbing his hand excitedly as soon as they were in his room. I feel like my heart is going to beat out of my chest. Don't be so dramatic. Leo handed her a soda he'd grabbed from the fridge. You're just meeting my family, having a chat. Of course I'm nervous. It's my first time in a guy's house. Chloe took the soda, clutching it in her hand, and added in a small voice, and I'm meeting my boyfriend's parents. It would be weird if I wasn't nervous. Leo smiled and offered a solution. Then you should come over more often. After a few times, you won't be nervous anymore. You make it sound like we're about to get engaged, Chloe grumbled, though a small part of her felt a flutter of happiness. Of course, she hoped to marry the guy she liked, especially since he was her first love. So this is your room? The walls of Leo's room were covered in anime posters, and his bookshelf was filled with model kits. Chloe glanced around and gave her honest assessment. I never would have pegged you as such a nerd. Leo corrected her seriously. It's not being a nerd, it's a hobby. You girls wouldn't understand. TSH, Chloe scoffed, then began to curiously explore her boyfriend's room. She only looked, however, careful not to touch anything. Even when she really wanted a closer look at some of the more peculiar figurines, she would ask for Leo's permission first. Leo had never asked Chloe about her family's background, but small details like this showed she had been raised well. Chloe stood on her tiptoes, admiring the stuffed animals on the bookshelf one by one. Watching her from behind, Leo felt a strange sense of surrealism. This girl he flirted with all the time, the one he'd even kissed, was now standing in his childhood home. The feeling was bizarre. Standing on her toes, Chloe pointed to a fluffy Pikachu. Leo, where did you get this? Won it from a claw machine. A long time ago. Leo walked over, took the Pikachu down, and handed it to her. If you like it, you can have it. It's just sitting here anyway. Okay. A claw machine? With who? Chloe's expression shifted. She pouted, her eyes fixed on Leo, demanding an explanation. Who else? My sister, obviously, Leo said with an exasperated laugh. What? Are you jealous of my sister now? You jerk. Chloe lightly tapped him with the stuffed animal, a satisfied smile gracing her lips. But I don't think your two sisters like me very much, especially the one with the short hair. Chloe clutched the fluffy toy, her mood sinking. Did I say something wrong earlier? Did I offend her? Riley? Why would you think that? Leo asked, surprised. You guys barely talked. My mom was the one talking to you the whole time. How could you have offended her? Chloe's expression was serious. A woman's intuition. Leo burst out laughing. In that case, tell me tonight's lottery numbers. I could use a windfall. Hey, I'm being serious, Chloe said, her voice laced with complicated emotions. The way your sister looked at me just felt off. Silly, don't overthink it. That girl gives everyone a stink eye, but she's actually pretty sweet. Leo gently stroked Chloe's cheek, patiently consoling her. Besides, we're a perfect match. What right does that little monster have to object? Aren't you afraid your sister will hear you and beat you up? Chloe giggled, covering her mouth. She then looked out the window at the neighborhood. Leo, let's go out. Your parents are out there, and I just feel so tense. Didn't you say you were going to take me to the park? Let's go later. It's so hot out, and my friends aren't free yet. Your roommates probably aren't back on campus either, right? Leo touched Chloe's fair arm. Besides, you just got her tan fade. You're not afraid of getting dark again. Oh, it's fine, Chloe said, shaking her head dismissively. She wrapped her arms around Leo's waist and pressed against his chest, whining. Come on, let's go. It's so boring here. Let's go for a walk. Leo, I cut up some fruit for you too. Remember to. Just then, Sharon pushed the door open, carrying a plate of sliced fruit. The first thing she saw was the beautiful girl hugging her son and acting coquettishly. Riley and Sophie, like a pair of giraffes, peeked their heads in and stared, stunned, at the affectionate couple. A jolt went through them. The sisters had been questioning the authenticity of their relationship, wondering if Leo had hired Chloe to put on a show for them, since Sharon was always pressuring him to find a girlfriend. Riley, in particular, refused to believe her lethargic, introverted brother could land a campus goddess. Now, the truth was laid bare. Otherwise, Chloe wouldn't be clinging to Leo like a lovesick puppy. Silence. A dead silence. Chloe's delicate face was flushed crimson. Her hands, which had been wrapped around Leo, hovered in midair, unsure whether to let go or continue holding on. The group stared at each other for several awkward seconds before Leo finally broke the silence with a resigned sigh. How many times have I told you? Can you please knock before you come into my room? Next time you see something you're not supposed to, don't blame me. Sorry. Dear, remember to eat the fruit later, Sharon said, her joy overflowing. She quickly placed the fruit on the table, then, beaming, pushed her two gawking daughters out of the room and closed the door. Well, I guess we should go out. It really is kind of boring staying home, Leo said. He instinctively wrapped an arm around Chloe's waist and looked down to see her eyes glistening with tears, looking both embarrassed and on the verge of crying. Leo, Chloe hugged his waist tightly, a blush spreading from her cheeks down her neck. She buried her face in his chest and said, a mixture of shame and indignation in her voice, I'm too embarrassed to marry anyone else now. You have to marry me. Are you serious? They were hugging. Why would I lie? The way she was holding him was exactly how he used to hug me when he was little and wanted something. We can start getting ready for grandchildren. The soundproofing in the high-end apartment was good, but couldn't muffle the ecstatic conversation between Sharon and David in the living room. All right, let's just go for a walk. Leo couldn't bear to listen anymore. He decided to take Chloe to a nearby park. To diffuse the lingering awkwardness, they waited in his room for another half hour before emerging, one after the other. Seeing their son leading the graceful Chloe out, the smiles on Sharon and David's faces grew even wider. The two sisters watched Chloe trail behind Leo with mixed feelings. The big brother who had doted on them their whole lives was being stolen away by another woman, and it left a sour taste in their mouths. Riley's gaze fell on the Pikachu plushie in Chloe's hands, and her eyes instantly filled with resentment. She and Leo had won that Pikachu at an arcade. She had operated the claw machine herself and given it to him. And now he'd just given it away to this woman. Dear, are you leaving already? Sharon quickly stood up and asked warmly, are you coming back for dinner tonight? I'll make you something special. Leo was at the door, changing his shoes. No need. We're eating out tonight. Dude, I want to go too. Riley suddenly shouted. Go to hell, Leo retorted. There was no way he was letting his sharp-tongued sister tag along as a third wheel. Oomph. Riley crossed her arms and flopped onto the sofa, glaring resentfully at Chloe. It's okay, ma'am. I won't trouble you tonight, Chloe politely declined, still looking a little nervous. Oh, is that so? Sharon looked slightly disappointed, but she quickly plastered a smile back on her face and opened the door for Chloe. Well then, dear, come visit again soon. Okay, and thank you again for earlier, ma'am. Chloe stepped outside, and the tension in her shoulders eased slightly. Don't mention it. Sharon stood next to Leo, ruffling his hair as she enthusiastically pitched her son. Dear, don't mind our Leo if he seems a bit blunt. He's a very gentle person and knows how to take care of a girl. He's just a little quiet and doesn't talk much. I hope you'll be patient with him in the future. Yes, I will, ma'am. Chloe smiled sweetly, thinking to herself, him? Quiet? Doesn't talk much? She remembered when she first met Leo. His mouth never stopped running, and his personality was anything but quiet. Can you hurry up? Are your shoelaces tied in a knot? Sharon swatted her son's head impatiently. Can't you see the young lady is waiting for you at the door? Leo rubbed his head, annoyed. What's the rush? Seeing Leo look so flustered, Chloe felt a sudden urge to laugh but thought it wouldn't be appropriate. Come visit again soon, dear. David also came to the door to see them off. He quite liked this pretty, well-mannered girl and naturally hoped she and his son would end up together. Let's go. My parents are such chatterboxes. Leo finished tying his shoes, stood up, and took Chloe's soft hand, leading her toward the elevator. Having her hand held in front of her boyfriend's parents made Chloe a little shy. Still, She politely turned back, her face slightly flushed, and waved to them. Goodbye, Mr. and Mrs. Shepherd. Yes, yes, goodbye. Remember to come again soon. Seeing their son and Chloe acting so intimately, the older couple's faces lit up with proud, satisfied smiles. Oomph. The moment the elevator doors closed, Chloe let out an indignant huff. Leo, in a little while, you have to come to my house too. In Chloe's mind, things were supposed to happen the other way around. Leo was supposed to visit her parents first. Only after her parents gave their approval should she have come to visit his. But when she was talking to Leo that morning, she hadn't even considered that. She just foolishly bought gifts and rushed over. Thinking about the embarrassing misunderstanding in his room, Chloe felt a fresh wave of shame, and the feeling of meeting a boyfriend's parents for the first time. It was more nerve-wracking than she could have imagined. Leo hesitated for a moment. For some reason, an image of a certain elegant, mature woman flashed through his mind. He quickly changed the subject. Have you told your parents about us? And no. Chloe's voice dropped. In high school, her parents had told her it was best not to date in college. Her studies had to come first. Little did they know, Chloe had gotten a boyfriend just a few days into her freshman year. All told, they had been dating for almost 3 months. Chloe was worried about her parents' disapproval and hadn't said a word about Leo to them. But she couldn't hide it forever. Chloe's parents valued family and their children's upbringing. Her father, Don Miller, was especially protective of his daughter. If he found out that the daughter he had cherished for nearly 20 years, his precious Pearl, not only had a boyfriend in college, but had also taken the initiative to visit his parents, he would definitely give her an earful. Chloe said with firm resolve, Leo, I'm going to tell them about us tonight. Her words made it clear. She was ready to marry Leo. Leo now felt a mix of anticipation for marriage and apprehension about his future. If both sets of parents knew about their relationship and didn't object, did that mean he was about to step onto the path to marriage? His feelings were complicated. He used to dream of finding a girl who only had eyes for him and getting married. Now that his wish was coming true, why wasn't he as happy as he thought he would be? What do you think? Chloe asked, seeing Leo's prolonged silence. 1. Anxious refusal. I'm not ready yet. We've only known each other for a few months. Don't you think this is too fast? 2. Firm agreement. No problem. As long as your parents agree, we'll get married as soon as you graduate. 3. Deflection. I'm fine with whatever, but you haven't even told your parents. What do you think they'll say? I'm fine with whatever, Leo said, squeezing Chloe's hand tightly. He asked curiously, but you haven't even told your parents. What do you think they'll say? I don't know, Chloe mumbled, her head hanging low. The implication was clear. Her parents probably wouldn't approve of their relationship. They exited the elevator, and Leo led Chloe to a nearby park for a walk. The park had a large, artificial lake, its surface as smooth and vast as a giant mirror, reflecting the flowers and trees along its banks. Chloe was quiet and downcast the whole way, likely agonizing over how to break the news to her parents. She worried if they would even let her continue seeing Leo after they found out. Avoiding it won't solve anything. You should just tell them about us, Leo said firmly, seeing her look of helplessness. What's that saying? When the car reaches the mountain, there will be no road, and when the boat reaches the bridge, it will naturally sink. Oomph. And you call yourself my senior. You can't even get those idioms right. A small smile appeared on Chloe's melancholic face, and her mood lifted slightly. Leo, I've made up my mind. I'm going to tell them tonight. If they don't agree, then I'll sneak over and climb through your window every night to see you, Leo interrupted. I'll slip into your bed at night and sneak out before dawn. I'll get you pregnant with a big, healthy baby before they even know what's happening. Hey, you're such a pervert. Who do you think you are, Romeo? And even Romeo didn't climb through windows. Chloe playfully slapped him, a sweet, hopeful smile on her face. Leo was her first love, and she was at that age of romantic fantasies and daydreams. Here, Chloe playfully slapped him, a sweet, hopeful smile on her face. Leo was her first love, and she was at that age of romantic fantasies and daydreams. Hearing such mischievous, even slightly crude, words from her boyfriend didn't repel her. Instead, it felt strangely thrilling and exciting. So, Chloe began to describe her parents' personalities, giving Leo tips on how to handle them. She talked nonstop, sharing not just about her parents, but also more personal details about her family situation. Her family was quite wealthy. While not fabulously rich, they were well off in a city as expensive as Portland. Compared to Leo's comfortable middle-class family, it was a different world entirely. Chloe's mother, Carla Miller, owned a cosmetics company. The brand wasn't well known, but had made a good profit in recent years through e-commerce and influencers. Carla was easygoing and relatively lenient about Chloe's studies and social life, as long as she stayed out of serious trouble. Her father, Don Miller, was the real challenge. He owned a logistics company. Back in the chaotic early 2000s, he had been a rough-and-tumble guy, even spending a couple of years in jail. Most importantly, he doted on his daughter. Don had raised Chloe like a princess, treating her like a fragile treasure. Guys all over the country, no, the world probably feared this type of protective father-in-law the most. But Leo wasn't afraid. He had a cheat code. No matter how tough his future in-laws were, he would win them over. Around 6 that evening, Leo booked a table at a well-known Cantonese restaurant in a shopping district and sent the location to his friends. Chloe's roommates had all arrived in the area, but the streets were confusing and they couldn't find a restaurant. Chloe had to go meet them, leaving Leo alone at the table. Before long, Leo's 4 best friends arrived one by one. 2 were his college roommates, Will and Zach. The other 2 were his childhood buddies, Finn and Tom. Birds of a feather flocked together. All of Leo's friends were still single, never having been in a relationship. They were just like the old Leo. Forget finding a girlfriend, they could barely talk to a girl without trembling. Holy crap, Leo. Did you get plastic surgery? 2 months ago you said you were working out. I thought it was just another one of your phases, but you actually stuck with it. You son of a bitch. Dad is very proud. Hey Leo, where's your girlfriend? Isn't she having dinner with you? Yeah, Leo, bring your girlfriend over. We can help you vet her. Make sure you don't get played like last time. Their initial reactions were all pretty much the same. They were shocked by Leo's transformation, but quickly accepted it. Leo had always been the best-looking one in their group. Even when he was lethargic and unkempt, his good looks were undeniable. And despite the huge change, his friends still treated him the same way they always had, like in their college dorm, where every guy thought he was the dad and the others were his sons. She's picking up her friends, Leo said, handing the menu to Tom. And don't say Dad didn't look out for you. My girlfriend's best friend and roommates are coming. They're all gorgeous. Whether you can seize the opportunity is up to you. For real? There are pretty girls coming, and you're actually sharing? Tom looked at the menu skeptically. Is your girlfriend even prettier than her roommates? I don't believe it. The campus goddess of PSU. You know, Chloe Miller, the one who went viral on TikTok a while back. Leo leaned back in his chair smugly. She's my girlfriend now. Haha, nice one. Living in a fantasy world isn't so bad, right? Will pushed up his thick glasses, amused. There's so many guys at PSU who are way better looking and richer than you. How would you even stand a chance? Seriously, Leo, you can lie to yourself, but don't lie to us. Chloe Miller is a campus goddess, Finn said definitively. If you actually manage to get her as your girlfriend, I'll pay for dinner tonight. And after, I'll take you all to the Velvet Curtain, an extra hour for everyone. Nah, I wouldn't want to waste your money, Leo said, shaking his head. Besides, I have a girlfriend now. I'm not going to places like that anymore. Oh, stop pretending. We know you, Zach laughed out loud. You used to be too scared to even talk to girls. You think we're going to believe you landed the campus goddess, Chloe Miller. Leo, we're here. Just then, Chloe appeared at the doorway of the private room with her roommates and her best friend, Maya Pierce, a flock of cheerful, chattering girls. What took you so long? Leo pulled out a chair for Chloe. The waiter has been over here 3 times asking if we're ready to order. I've never been here before. Chloe huffed, playfully punching his arm. And don't you dare blame me. Not now, not ever. The 4 friends, who had been dismissive just moments before, stared in stunned silence at the sight of Chloe. Tom even muted his phone and secretly opened TikTok under the table, searching for Chloe's viral orientation video to compare the girl on screen with the one in front of him. The result was undeniable. It was her. In person, she was even prettier, and her voice was sweeter. They briefly suspected Leo might have hired her to act for them. But then Leo's hand was on Chloe's waist, casually caressing and holding her. Not only did Chloe not resist, she shifted closer to him, making it more comfortable for him to hold her. That single, intimate gesture convinced them. This was no act. He had actually done it. The bastard had actually landed the campus goddess of PSU. Damn you to hell, Leo. All right, you win. Leo nodded dotingly, then turned to the girls behind Chloe with a warm smile. Hey, everyone. Good to see you again. Sit. Make yourselves at home. Waiter, we're ready to order. The waiter brought over several menus. Leo had him distribute them to Chloe's friends. Order whatever you want. Tonight's on Miss Miller. Haha. Well, don't mind if we do, one of the roommates said, eagerly grabbing a menu. My treat is my treat, Chloe said, unfazed. The cost of this meal was nothing to her. Leo, you're really something, Maya said, sitting next to Chloe, impressed. How long have you known our girl? and you've already taken her to meet your parents. It was bound to happen sooner or later. After the girls had ordered, Leo grandly introduced his sons. Everyone, these are my good friends. These two I've known since we were kids, and these two were my roommates for 4 years of college. As he finished, the girls looked curiously at the 4 timid guys. The once boisterous group was now deflated, sitting on pins and needles with awkward, forced smiles. They couldn't believe Leo's girlfriend was really Chloe Miller. And they couldn't believe her roommates were all so beautiful. Especially the girl with the short hair. She was easily as stunning as Chloe. Maya occasionally shot flirtatious glances their way, making their hearts pound. Well, say hello, Leo prompted. You were all so talkative a minute ago. What happened? Cat got your tongue now that you're in front of pretty girls. At the word pretty, the girls giggled and whispered among themselves, then started chatting with Leo, their delicate, bell-like laughter filling the room. Hi everyone, I'm Tom. Starting with Tom, the guys stumbled through their introductions. The cool, air-conditioned room suddenly felt sweltering as the 4 of them finished, drenched in sweat. Leo's friends weren't bad-looking, but their awkward, nervous smiles and timid personalities were a definite turn-off for most girls. It screamed a lack of confidence. Chloe's 2 roommates naturally paid them no mind, chatting among themselves and occasionally interacting with Leo. Hi everyone, I'm Chloe. I'm from here, a freshman at PSU, Chloe said, clinging to Leo's arm and smiling sweetly at his friends. She then looked at Tom, who was sitting closest to Leo. Leo told me you were his roommate? Yeah. I go to PSU too. Hi, nice to meet you. Tom nodded nervously and quickly chugged his tea to hide his panic. Chloe looked slightly disappointed. Tom hadn't used the title she'd hoped to hear. Leo, do you play that auto battler game? Katie, whose affinity was about to break 50, asked, holding up her phone expectantly. The food isn't here yet. Want to play a round? My phone's about to die. Leo decisively passed the opportunity to Tom. My friend here plays. He's a challenger-ranked player on 2 different servers. He can use his Smuff account to boost you. He shot Tom a meaningful look. Tom glanced at the cute and petite Katie and fumbled for his phone to open the game. Yeah, let's play. I'll use my Smuff to carry you. What's your ID? I'll add you. Okay, sure, Katie said with a resigned smile. She and Tom started a duo queue, leaving the other 3 guys watching with envy. See? I'm thoughtful, right? Leo whispered into Chloe's ear, looking for praise. Good thing you caught on quick, Chloe replied smugly, then held out her right hand with a pout. Leo, I was coming upstairs earlier and I broke a nail. It really hurts. How were you so careless? Does it still hurt? A little. It's stinging. Let me blow on it for you. Could you 2 be any more disgusting? Maya rolled her eyes at the sickeningly sweet couple and pulled out her phone, planning to play a few rounds herself. Hi. Hearing that Maya was also opening the game, Will mustered up his courage. Which server are you on? Want to play together? Maya rested her chin on her hand, curiously eyeing the nervous guy. I'm only Diamond. What's your rank? Can we even queue? I'm Challenger ranked on 2 servers too, Will said proudly, then added, but I happen to have a Diamond Smuff. Want to queue up? Let's do it, Maya agreed. My ID is Ocean Awakens. You add me, or I'll add you. Will was so excited he was tripping over his words. He couldn't believe he'd so easily struck up a conversation with a girl who was just as beautiful as Chloe. Maybe talking to girls wasn't so hard after all. You just had to take that first step. Just from her agreeing to play 1 game, Will's mind was already racing with fantasies of a future romance with Maya. He even ridiculously wondered if she had a secret crush on him, or if she was just into guys like him. Why else would she have agreed so readily? The food at the Cantonese place was genuinely excellent, and everyone ate with gusto. Leo's friends were terrible at talking to girls, so the atmosphere was a bit tense at first. Luckily, Leo was a master at livening things up. The initially awkward and quiet room soon became animated under his lead. He peppered the conversation with funny internet memes that the younger crowd understood, making the girls laugh and his friends watch with a mixture of envy and admiration. Inspired by Leo's effortless charm, they tried to bring up some youth-oriented topics themselves, hoping to make an impression on the girls. But the moment they opened their mouths and the girls turned their attention to them, they would immediately falter and retreat into awkward silence. All right, you guys keep chatting. I'm going to use the restroom, Leo said, pushing his chair back. Under the table, he tapped Tom's leg and gave him a look. I can't get them all together like this every day, he whispered. The message was clear. His friends needed to start a conversation with the girls and not waste this golden opportunity. But when Leo returned from the restroom, he overheard that idiot Finn telling Katie one of his embarrassing stories from the past. In middle school, Leo and the rest of us went to climb a tree to steal some lychees. He slipped and a branch ripped a huge hole right in his shorts. He practically had to walk home with his ass hanging out. Finn's intention had been to liven up the atmosphere with some funny stories about him and Leo. He hadn't expected Katie to be so interested in anything related to Leo. As long as Leo was in the story, no matter how bizarre, she listened with rapt attention. The way Katie looked at him with her big, expectant eyes completely mesmerized Finn. In a moment of recklessness, he started spilling Leo's most embarrassing secrets to keep her attention. When Leo walked back in, he shot Finn an impassive look, and Finn immediately clammed up. Ahem, they don't sell cigarettes here. I'm gonna go buy a pack, Finn said, awkwardly rubbing his nose as he stood up. He asked guiltily, Leo, you want one? I can grab it for you, it's on the way. Leo took a sip of tea, pretending to think. A pack of Reds. Haven't had one in a while. When the hell have you ever smoked those? Finn thought, but he managed a strained smile. Sure, I'll get them for you. Leo added the soft pack. Finn's shoulders tensed. He turned back, his mouth twitching into a smile. And no problem. As soon as Finn left, Chloe leaned in and whispered, Your friend is talking trash about you. It's fine, let him, Leo said with a shrug. His friend was using him as a stepping stone to get a girl. Leo only wished he could be a mountain for him to climb. He and these guys had been friends since they were kids. A little friendly roasting was normal. Besides, Finn was only doing it to impress a girl, so Leo wasn't going to hold it against him. If his friend could actually win over his dream girl by making fun of him, Leo would be thrilled. He was just worried Finn was acting like a clown at a circus, being played by Katie. After all, that girl was no simple case, as her affinity score for Leo clearly showed. But even if he failed, it was fine. Real-world experience, talking to girls, was valuable in itself. By the time they finished dinner, it was past 7. Chloe and her friends took an Uber back to campus, while Leo and his buddies, who hadn't seen each other in months, went for a walk in the park, smoking and chatting. Hey, Leo, man, I was just kidding around back there, Finn said, lighting a cigarette for Leo. You know, I'm terrible at talking to girls. I just couldn't think of anything else to say. I'm not worried about it, Leo said, blowing a smoke ring dismissively. He then asked curiously, so, after all that roasting, did you at least get Katie's number? Finn looked surprised. Her name is Katie? Leo face-bombed. Holy crap, you talked to her for that long, and you don't even know her name? I didn't know how to ask, Finn said, looking frustrated, though a smile quickly returned to his face. But I added her in the game. That counts as contact info, right? We can play together and chat in the future. Well, good luck with that. Leo felt Finn was completely out of his league with Katie, but he could only offer his blessing. You guys are pathetic, Will said smugly, pulling out his phone and opening his chat with Maya. I only talked to this girl for a few minutes, and she added me on socials herself. She even asked me to play on her account for her when she's busy. I think she's totally got a crush on me. Love at first sight, you know. No way. Seriously. Finn and Tom crowded around to look. Sure enough, in Will's friends list was a contact named Maya_behaving. It was Maya's profile, and they had been chatting just a few minutes ago. Maya_behaving. I have classes all this week, so I won't have time to play. Can you help me out sometime? Cute emoji, Ocean Awakens. Yeah, of course. Send me your login and password. I'll start tonight. Maya_behaving. Thanks, I'm gonna go take a shower now. Cute emoji. Damn it. How the hell did you manage that? Thinking of Maya's looks and figure, which were easily on par with Chloe's, the other two were so jealous they could have ground their teeth to dust. Stay humble, stay humble. You guys just lack confidence, Will concluded proudly. It all comes down to technique when you're talking to a girl. Once you get the vibe right, she can't help but want to give you her number. Makes sense, Leo nodded, amused. He then turned to Zach, the most introverted of the group. Zach, you were just pathetic back there. You spent the whole time laughing awkwardly and didn't even say 2 words to the girls. What was I supposed to say? I had no idea, Zach said with a sheepish grin. Your girlfriend's roommates are all so pretty. I think I'll just stick to trying to win over that girl from my hometown. Zach, listen to me. That girl has no intention of being with you, Leo warned him seriously. You've been simping for her for almost 4 years, and she still won't say yes. She's obviously just stringing you along. Zach had been pursuing a girl from his high school ever since he graduated college. She had never agreed to date him, but cruelly, she had never explicitly rejected him either. Whenever Zach was about to give up, she would suddenly start messaging him again, asking how he was. A classic toxic move. Leo and the others had tried to talk sense into him countless times, but he refused to listen. Man, that's a harsh way to put it. I'm not simping for her. She's a Gemini, so she's just slow to warm up. I've been talking to her for 4 years. You think you know her better than I do? Zach retorted defensively, a dreamy smile on his face. You guys don't get it. Jenna is different from other girls. Besides, Zach continued, taking a drag from his cigarette, I'm not that good looking, and my family's not as well off as yours. My parents are just ordinary people. Being with an ordinary girl like her is good enough for me. He blew out a smoke ring and laughed self-deprecatingly. So how could I even dare to aim for girls like the ones tonight? I'll leave them to you guys. His words left the other three speechless. They just smoked in silence. It wasn't even midnight, but a strange melancholy had settled over them, a mix of uncertainty about the future and confusion about the present. What the hell are you afraid of? When you're looking for a girlfriend, you go for the pretty ones. You're not going to go for the ugly ones, are you? Listen to me, Zach. Don't ever look down on yourself, Leo said, placing his hands on Zach's shoulders. As long as you're brave and confident enough to talk to girls, there's no one you can't win over. That's how I got with Chloe. Do you think I'd lie to you? But you're already handsome and tall, Zach argued. And now you're in great shape. Of course it's easy for you to get girls. Bullshit. When I started talking to Chloe, I hadn't even started working out yet. No way for real? Will chimed in. The way Leo used to be, no girl would have given him a second look. Why would I lie? Leo added patiently. And I only learned how to talk to girls by talking to Chloe. It's not as hard as we think it is. Besides, you're not a lost cause. You own a condo in Portland, you're kind and honest. If you're willing to put in the work, get in shape, and improve your conversation skills, you can definitely land a beautiful girl. Zach was almost convinced. Am I really that great? Leo clapped him on the shoulder. Hell yeah, my boy is definitely great. Well, if I'm so great. Zach fell silent for a long moment, deep in thought. After finishing his cigarette, he asked tentatively, then, can you set me up with your sister? You son of a bitch. Even a rabbit doesn't eat the grass near its own burrow. Leo froze for a second, then burst out laughing. I'm trying to give you a pep talk here. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. Ha ha. They all started laughing, and Zach's mood lightened considerably. All right, we'll see, Zach said, dropping a cigarette and taking a deep breath. If Jenna really doesn't give me a chance, I'll find a way to cut things off for good. The atmosphere grew lively again. The friends, who hadn't been together in half a year, started venting about their post-college lives. Dude, my team lead at work is such a dick. He's always making me work unpaid overtime. Tell me about it. The job the school set me up with is a total piece of shit. Hey, Leo, are you still writing novels these days? Haha, step back, everyone. I'm about to flex. Holy crap, over $1 million. Did you rob a bank? The five of them walked along the cobblestone path, laughing and talking as the moonlight stretched their shadows long behind them. Leo, hurry up and get ready for breakfast. The next morning, Sharon's voice woke Leo up. Your father and I have to go out. You're driving the girls to school. It's not even light out yet. Leo stumbled into the living room, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. He saw his sisters in their school uniforms, sitting primly on the sofa, and scratched his head in annoyance. You're old enough to get yourselves to school. Do you have no shame? We just want to annoy you. So there. Riley stuck her tongue out and made a goofy face. Sophie urged him on impatiently. Come on, bro. Hurry up. We're going to be late. I swear you too. Leo shook his head in defeat. He quickly brushed his teeth, washed his face, grabbed a bun to stuff in his mouth, and then led his sisters down to the parking garage. When they saw the new Mercedes in the parking spot, the sisters ran overexcitedly, circling the car and examining it with curiosity. Leo's parents could have afforded such an expensive car, but they found it impractical, so they'd been driving the same Volkswagen for 5 years. Leo unlocked the car, and Sophie beamed as she pulled open the door. I call shotgun. No, I'm sitting there. Riley, block her. You can have it next time. No, I want it now. Hey, what are you two freaking out about? Leo, already in the driver's seat, couldn't help but intervene. Riley, you're the older sister. Can't you let her have it? See? Even our brother says so. You're the older sister, so you have to let me have it, Sophie said smugly. She happily opened the door, sat down in the passenger seat, and expertly flipped down the vanity mirror to check her makeup. Riley, fuming, got into the back seat and slammed the door. She stared out the window with a sour expression, her stubborn streak flaring up. Leo sighed in frustration, mentally reminding himself never to come home again unless it was absolutely necessary. Normally, the sisters got along just fine, but whenever Leo was around, they regressed into their childhood selves, competing for his attention in the most juvenile ways. They had a fight over everything he gave them. Not far from Lincoln High School, Sophie spotted her roommate and asked Leo to drop her off. Through the rearview mirror, Leo saw that Riley was still staring silently out the window, clearly still upset that he had sided with Sophie. Leo deliberately found a spot in a parking lot near the school. It's Monday. The entrance is going to be packed, he said, unbuckling his seatbelt. Let's walk from here. I'll walk you to the gate. Who needs you to walk them? Riley spat stubbornly, opening the door and storming toward the exit. This is a parking lot. Watch out for cars. Leo got out and caught up to her, hooking an arm around her neck and pulling her into a hug. He coaxed her gently. Hey, it's just a front seat. Is it really worth being this angry about? Let go of me. Get lost. Go find your precious little sister. Riley shoved at him, though not with much force. All right, my bad. I shouldn't have taken her side. Besides, you're my sister too, aren't you? Leo ruffled her hair, ignoring her half-hearted struggles. How about this? Next Saturday, I'll take you both out for the day. What do you think? Normally, Leo and Riley's interactions were full of mutual annoyance and sarcasm. But when she was genuinely upset, he would always soften up and comfort her. She was his sister, after all. At his words, Riley stopped struggling. She looked up at him from within his embrace, her expression skeptical. Really? Riley demanded childishly. Then I get to sit in the front seat this time. Leo nodded. Of course. Well, have I ever lied to you? Leo grinned cheekily. As long as my little sister isn't angry, you can even sit on my lap. Ugh, you're so gross. Riley couldn't help but laugh, though she quickly turned her head away, trying to maintain her pout.